Hello, everybody, and welcome to a more chill stream of the Opp Block. This is what we are going to be calling the Opp Block book review series. I'm joined by your hosts, Kat,
Hello.
Cloudy,
Hi.
Hood Ornament,
What?
Mod Greg,
Hello.
and as always, I am your illustrious host, Falgi.Exe. Snaps in the chat. And welcome to a more laid-back stream. Thank you guys for showing up and showing on. Today we're going to be covering a book, and I'm going to let Cloudy take it away.
This is weird. I don't like any of that.
Yeah, be normal now. So I like to read a lot. I travel for work, so I have a lot of, like, I don't want to say downtime, but I have a lot of things to do in between the times I'm super busy. Uh, so I started getting into horror novels after Meat Canyon and Wendigoon covered Pen Pal. That shit ripped out my heart, and I was like, oh, I liked that. That was good. I liked feeling that way. I want more of that. So I started going through other people's horror recommendations. And while this wasn't my first one after Pen Pal, it was probably maybe my third. This book gets recommended a lot when looking at horror novels, and I'm gonna spoilers right now. I don't like this book. I don't like it at all.
You don't like the book? Why are we reading this?
I sat through the whole thing. I read all of it, mad as hell. And now I'm going to talk about those feelings it gave me. And Kat has also read this book. How did it make you feel, Kat?
Kat read the book too.
So I received Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica for my birthday. My old boss gave it to me.
Do you resent that boss now?
I really wanted to like this book. I really wanted to like the book. I just couldn't. I hate it. I hate it so much. The characters are very poorly fleshed out. The main character is insufferable.
Insufferable.
You're never given a reason to like him. You're never given a
you're
reason to
sort
actually
of
root
led
for
to
him.
Yeah, you're supposed to. You can tell it's written in a way where you're supposed to feel bad for him, but you just can't because he's just an insufferable asshole at all times.
Oh, that's
My
wild.
wife has also read the book,
Nice.
and she also hates it.
Yeah,
We should
I
get her
see a
in the
lot
call.
of. Honestly, I see a lot of
more hosts.
I see a lot of praise for this book. And again, this is all our opinion. This is all our thoughts and feelings. You're free to disagree with anything I say, of course. If you pick it up afterwards and you're like, oh, well, it really wasn't that bad, that's fine. I mean, it's a book. It's not, But I will also say that I read a book covering the same sort of subject. I'll grab the title and stuff in a bit. It just handled cannibalism or meat as people so much better. Hey Quantum, no, we just started. So no worries. It just handled the subject so much better. But I read that book and then this book right after, and that did add to my disdain for this book. So I will say that right off the bat. I know the book is called Meat, but I need to find the author. I can't remember his name right now.
My wife will not want to read that probably.
It handled this way better, and I'll probably do a couple comparisons once we finish with the end of this review.
That's right. So yeah, we're going to be going over Tender is the Flesh, and so I'll be giving a brief little summary of the book, and then my friends here are a brief little snapshot, and then we're going to be going over the plot summary. We're going to be going over specific lines from the book. The reason being is Cloudy likes to send me like terrible lines from the books that she reads, and I freak out all the time.
Oh yeah, I typically read like splatterpunk, like extreme horror novels, and basically everything is just blood, guts, gore, really grotesque, disgusting descriptions of everything. Tell me about a man who did eat his own leg. Was that the guy that got arrested for serving like foot tacos or something? I remember a story like
Who
that.
the fuck would
What?
serve foot tacos?
What?
So this guy was like, I forgot the exact story, but this guy had his foot amputated and he got to take it home for some reason, and then he turned it into tacos. And I think somebody got
That-
arrested. I don't remember.
What do you mean he got
Please do
to
not
fucking take
quote
the
me.
foot home? What do you
Please
mean
do
he
not-
got to take the foot home?
Please do not quote me.
What do you mean he
I
took
just
the foot
remember
home?
somebody. I just remember somebody got. Oh, he didn't get. Yeah, I know. I feel like maybe something happened, or maybe someone wanted him to be arrested. But how do you? I mean, it's your meat, right? Like I don't know. I don't know what the fuck
Your
you-
meat.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know the
What do
law.
you mean it's your meat? I had like,
It's your
oh,
meat.
please stop
Like
saying that
JD
phrase.
Wentworth. It's your meat, and
it's
you want it now.
It's auto cannibalism.
Yeah. I mean, I know.
Auto-cannibalism.
Yeah.
I'm disgusted by the idea of auto cannibalism, but it's his own body. I mean,
And if
so
his
what the
friend
fuck am I
says yes,
supposed to do?
yeah, and if his friend says yeah to the tacos, what am I supposed to do about it? You know.
Do we not have self-autonomy to eat ourselves? What kind of world? We live in a society.
We do be living in
I
society.
don't like that. I don't care. I don't like the society that I live in right now. This is a crazy society. This is what I call insano in the fucking braino. There we go. Pull out your bingo cards. I did the thing.
Amazing.
I know.
So,
I know.
While talking about society, Tender is the Flesh opens up by introducing us to the idea that most animals contained a virus that was incredibly deadly to humans.
Right.
So they were either hunted down to near extinction, and humans have become cannibalistic. And this has all been in the process of a single generation. So
Interesting.
Yeah,
So how,
yeah,
how
so-
yeah, let me read the little plot snapshot.
Yeah, so go ahead and read that, and then I did pull up like 4 of the first few bits of like 4. So it's gonna be a little bit extra reading, but I think it'll really sort of just settle in the sort of
Yeah.
vibe that this book will give. So go ahead and start with that.
Alrighty then. So, Tender is the Flesh is a dystopian novel.
Should we mention that this will be spoiler? So if people who
Oh,
do
yeah.
want to read this,
Giant spoilers for this
If you
book. 'Cause I'm
care
not
enough.
gonna hold. I'm not gonna hold back.
giant
And
spoiler
also,
warning.
just for like trigger warning stuff, it's got cannibalism. It's got lots of forced everything.
If you
Uh,
couldn't tell,
Yeah, there's basically
I
kind of
can't
just
tell. I
think,
still don't know what it's about.
yeah, there's gonna be a
Mm.
lot of bad things in here. So if you are a bit sensitive to stuff, maybe you could, maybe tap out of this one. But yeah, it's it kind of brings up these things in a way to shock the reader, or to just be like, wow, this is how society is now. Ugh,
I
like,
can't
it's just
I
stupid.
can't believe that we live in a society, folks.
We do be living in society.
we live in a
Anyway,
society
We do.
Falgi,
Anyway.
So,
where we eat people.
we do. So, Tender is the Flesh is a dystopian novel by Argentinian author Agustina Bazterrica. The
Try
novel
again. One more time.
Bazterrica. I don't listen, Rika. I'm not. We're blah, 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 blah. My ability to read immediate names is not good.
I thought you were Italian.
This is Argentinian. What the
Wow.
fuck? What the fuck do you
Wow.
mean? Did you think I was Italian? This is
I thought you could roll your
Argentinian.
R- I thought you could roll your R's better. I don't know.
You mean like this? Bazterrica. Rica. Bazterrica.
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 Yeah, good.
I know how to say it, but I believe Argentinian is a different type of Spanish, but that's not the point.
Yes, it is.
Yes, okay. The novel was originally published in Spanish in 2017 and translated by Sarah Moses into English in 2020. Tender is the Flesh portrays a society which a virus has contaminated all animal meat. Because of the lack of animal flesh, cannibalism becomes legal. Marcos, a human meat supplier, is conflicted by this new society and is tortured by his own personal losses.
Who fucking who? Oh my god.
Oh my
sorry.
god, why don't you tell us how you really feel? Fucking
I
spoiler
will.
warning.
I will.
Really, is Marcos that big of a
Tell
piece
us.
of shit? Is that
Yeah.
okay. Speak your truth,
Does he
spit
suck?
your facts. Speak your truth and spit your facts. Go.
All right. So I'll do the first paragraph of the plot summary that I got open here. So the novel opens by describing the process of slaughtering humans, who are referred to as heads. The world has fallen into chaos after the transition, describing an event where a virus that infected the animals was found to be deadly to humans, resulting in the mass slaughter and burning of the animals. With the world population forced to either go vegan or eat each other, soon cannibalism was institutionalized, industrialized, and normalized. With some humans bred for consumption known as special meats. That's not even creative, first of all, though. Scavengers who cannot afford the special meat consume any dead body available. Marcos works at one of these slaughterhouses in order to support his ailing father, who suffers from dementia. He describes his internal conflict with his job and the state of the world. Marco's job involves being the middleman who purchases the head and then sells the products. The owner of the breeding center notes things like the first generation pure, or FGP, which does come up, unfortunately, and describing heads born in for describing the heads born in the breeding center. The breeding center delivers Marcos a female FGP as a gift. So that's supposed to be like the conflict, right? Is that he hates his job and he hates his job, but can't leave it because his father is in like an old person home. And so basically when the virus wipes out all these animals and we suddenly instantly to start eating people. Which I'm gonna pause right there with my feelings. Maybe I'm too optimistic. I don't think we would just instantly start eating each other.
Default to cannibalism.
What do you mean?
Like I feel
would
like
default.
there's enough smart people to figure shit out. Like we wouldn't just start because one of the reasons why he's working at this place to afford his elderly care for his father is because it's mentioned in the book that like if you have an elder person or someone you're taking care of, hey Q, there you are. If you have an elder person in your family, they're gonna get chopped up and eaten.
Yeah.
That you have to protect grandma from like scavengers and stuff, which is why he's working at this plant to afford like this nice high security place.
I guess the question that I have is how long does it take for them to start eating people? Like, what is the eating people to I'm not going to eat people like time span?
Pipeline.
the pipeline of cannibalism. Please explain to me how cannibalism works.
Nowhere near long enough for me to like suspend my belief because obviously it's not. I know it's not fucking but it's just like it can't. I think it happens within like
10 years. It's about like 10 years.
About 10 years.
Oh
yeah.
my god, this is Cybersmith's like entire existence.
So this straight up went from, oh hey look, Fido the dog has a killer disease, straight into we need to get rid of every animal, into
Yeah.
oh my, we miss meat. It's not human meat, it's
Special meat.
special derivative meat.
It's
They just
special.
yeah.
But they
It-
go
they
out of
lit-
their
it's literally-
way to like remove any other food source except for people. Like
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an interesting thing.
life wouldn't
Are there
exist
bugs?
at that point.
And there's also
there
a
no
couple
bugs?
mentions. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, bugs are never mentioned. There's a couple of mentions of like how vegans are like, oh, this is vegan revenge. But then it mentions that there's actually people who publish articles about how vegetables are actually bad for you or something.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's just like
And
so the
everyone
main character.
believes it.
Well, yeah, the main character himself is just like, oh, I think the government did it for population control, but what am I gonna do about it? I just work here. Kind of, it's just like, oh, okay. So yeah, bugs are never mentioned. Apparently, all the progress we've made in making and growing lab meat never mentioned. Again, you've got to protect your grandma. It mentions that immigrants and homeless people are basically just wiped out because they're kidnapped and sold for meat.
And
Or turned
humanity
into meat.
knows that we're eating people. It's not just like
Yeah,
No, it's
right?
not
there's a
necessarily
new
average.
mystery meat product.
Everybody knows what it is, but it's just called special meat instead of
You
whatever.
fucking go to the local fucking cafeteria. You're a child going to your local cafeteria, and fucking Mrs. Jenkins is giving you mystery meat, and the kid's like, I don't know, is this like some fucking like what the fuck is this? And they're like, no, just eat it, it's fine, don't worry. I don't know if
Oh
anyone knows.
no, it's not mystery meat. They know it's human. They go to the butcher's, they see a human corpse.
Oh, that's
No, they don't call it a corpse though. Like it's called a carcass. You don't call it a human torso, or you don't call it a human arm or whatever. It's always they either refer to it as a carcass or they refer to it as like butcher parts
Head.
when you ask for pork.
I see.
It's so It's so wild from like an ecological standpoint that just somehow bugs are never mentioned when they're like
Yeah.
are like one of the biggest sources of protein on the literal planet. Like there
Yeah.
are dystopian lore and worlds built around the idea that because we have such a food shortage, we start all of our food is based on bugs. Like Blade Runner, for
Blade Runner
example. It's
2049, yeah.
yeah, it's
That's
all
the
fucking
Uh,
bugs. Like you just
Soylent Green
and
is
yeah,
made
and
out of humans.
if you didn't
Hmm.
have bugs, life would just not exist anymore. Like we are so reliant upon insects on our planet.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
a
yeah,
really interesting
100%.
thing where we are not like examining how bugs are interacting. Like that's obviously like one of the complaints that I can already levy is it doesn't appear, unless you guys can speak to this from the book's point of view, there's no appearance of looking at other food sources or any attempts for food sources. It sounds like that's what's happening right now. Is that it?
No, it was pretty much just this virus happened, which is awful. Yeah, literally just one leg of cloudy, please. Anytime. Bring it on. But
Yes, want them
it's
anytime.
just it's one of those things. So it's gonna get a bit wordy, of course it's a book. But in our voice
book
chat,
gets wordy.
I
in our
can
voice chat,
I can
I've
pull up the
yeah, I've pulled up like the first 4 bits I could think of that really just solidify not only the type of person our main character is, but just the sort of world overall. So it's just gonna say some of the things I've already said.
So what I'm gonna do is
Let me start off.
let me-
So this is very literally the first page.
all right, give me 1 second.
Carcass, cut in half, stunner, slaughter,
Wait,
line,
wait.
spray wash.
Before you
So
keep
you're
going, please stop, please. All right, because I set this up. I set it up so this will be on screen in 3, 2, 1. And then I'm gonna kind of make it bigger in studio mode because I need to see this. Oh wait, I need to see, guys. We're doing this live. I'm doing some new things live. I now realized part of the issues that I was having before was I wouldn't put things in studio mode, and I could never see the screen any bigger. All right, Cat, re-begin.
Destroy him. But they're not just words. They're the blood, the dense smell, the automation, the absence of thought. They burst in on the night, catch him off guard. When he wakes, his body is covered in a film of sweat because he knows he knows that what awaits him is another day of slaughtering humans. No one calls them that, he thinks, as he lights a cigarette. He doesn't call them that when he has to explain the
Nobody calls him
What?
that.
Yeah, so I'm
I have
already.
this. I have the second page up.
Yeah, I have the. Okay, I can continue. If it
God,
was
he-
if
he
this is
just-
page 2, well, because I have.
But it's just
food cycle
that
to
little.
the new employee.
As you were saying, Cloudy.
No, it's just that little bit. Oh, nobody calls him that. I light a cigarette. I'm so just I'm
Edgy.
I'm so stressed about my job. Shut up. Sorry, go on.
Also, how this virus also affects humans. In what world does it make sense to just start eating other people?
Yeah, that's
They
an
could
interesting
also
question.
just be infected.
So, what does a virus specifically do?
You know what I'm less worried about? Oh, I'm more worried about. Not viruses, protein illnesses, protein-based diseases,
Yeah.
prion-based diseases, specifically like Creutzfeldt-Jakob, which is otherwise known as mad cow disease, which will literally turn your. I'm not even being facetious. It will literally turn your brain into Swiss cheese. There will literally be holes in
Yeah.
your fucking brain from this prion disease.
Hold on.
Prion
So-
disease are just
It
absolutely
won't-
terrifying.
It won't literally do that then. It won't literally do.
Well,
It will
prions are a very interesting class of disease because
Yes.
it's a bacterium that only really exists in the brain. So
Right, in
please
the
do
brain.
not eat brains of other creatures because fun
That
fact,
was-
it'll
As
fuck
far
you
as
up.
I can remember, nobody touches brains in this book.
Yeah, that
But
would.
it's still just like, yeah.
Definitely.
There's nods and bits of this book where you'll be like, oh, that wouldn't work in real life anyway. And the author will kind of acknowledge it, and then we just chug along.
I mean, I would
And
chug
it pisses
along
me
too.
off more.
I would chug along too, because it's like, again. So the disease. What does this disease specifically do to meat?
It made the animals like super. If I'm correct, because I kind of forgot. If I'm honest, I think my brain's trying to protect me from this book. It made the animals super just like aggressive, but because it affected like all animals and it could spread from animal to animal, all of them had to be wiped out. But if humans ate it, like let's say you have like cattle dogs and stuff that's around your cattle, you eat the meat, you're gonna get sick and die. But since it happened through every animal, they all had to go.
So it's rabies
Really?
2 electric boogaloo.
Rabies 2 electric boogaloo. Hey, Axis,
Yeah.
what's up?
What's up?
Oh
What's
my
up?
That's it.
god.
But it can be transmitted through animals via touch, but not transmitted through humans via touch after they're contracted.
Yeah. Like that humans specifically have to eat it, it seems like.
Okay, interesting.
If it sounds like I'm not clear, it's because it's not clear in the book.
Yeah, yeah.
No. I just tried to get my ducks in a row here.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
You're gonna
no,
have
so the
questions
book-
that I cannot answer.
The book itself does a very poor job of actually fleshing the world out.
mm,
We know the protagonist, kinda. We know that his wife left him after their child died. But that's about it. He doesn't grow as a character. He doesn't change either.
No, you just watch him be
All he does
insufferable
is
for
mope
200 pages.
around.
yeah.
All he does is mope around, being like, "Oh, my job is hard.
Oh, society.
Mm.
Oh.
Like, we get it, bro.
Yeah,
Just
but we
become an
keep saying that,
accountant.
let's-
Fuck."
for real, honestly.
Guys,
yeah,
my
let's
job
read
is hard. I don't know.
Let's read a couple more, and then you guys will definitely like kind of get the gist
Okay.
of
Kat,
what we're saying.
Kat, you want to keep reading? You want me to read? What do you want to do?
Page 2. They could arrest him for it, even send him to the municipal slaughterhouse and process him. Assassinate him would be the correct term, but it can't be used. While he removes his soaked shirt, he tries to clear the persistent idea that this is what they are. Humans bred as animals for consumption.
Hmm.
He goes to the refrigerator and pours himself cold water. He drinks it slowly. His brain warns him that there are words that cover up the world. There are words that are convenient, hygienic, legal.
I can already tell that this book, if I had to guess, right, this book is already kind of screaming like the dangers of capitalism and like humans eating each other. Like that's what that no, we are not reading the Onision book.
It is
Yeah,
really
maybe one
trying.
day.
It's trying to say something, but it's just like doing it in the worst way possible.
I mean, okay, so
You know, I'll
I will give the liberty to this. This is not in its original language. I do know that there are some times that is a factor in books. However, in this regard, it's very clear that this book is translated well enough. I do just want to put out that small disclaimer that
Yeah,
I
don't think a
understand
book
what
in
you're
the past,
saying.
translated in the past 30 years is going to have that issue realistically.
Yeah.
sometimes they do.
I
from what
understand what you're saying, but this book isn't like a high level of reading enough for that to be an excuse, in
Mhm.
my opinion.
I mean,
Does that
yeah,
make sense? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like we're not reading anything that's like super difficult to read, so it shouldn't be that hard to translate to get what they're trying to say across.
So
I just think it's not that well written.
well, here's
or it's written in a way where like if I'm supposed to hate this man, that they did a great fucking job, but there's just bits and things that happen where I can tell that the author wants me to feel bad for this man, and I just fucking don't.
Well, here's the other thing too that I'm really confused by in a book like this is that what is going on with the people that are running away, for instance? What is happening? Like, why are these, like, is this taking place at a time where humans are not being raised like cattle in a way? Is this taking place at a time where that
Oh, like I
is
said, this
happening?
how happens within one generation. So we go in one generation to from normal meat, how we are now, to breeding humans for meat. And like I said, people have to protect their elderly. There's a mention in the middle of the book somewhere where people don't have funerals anymore because people were digging up corpses. And I'm like, no, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, we're
Come
not, bud. We ain't
on.
doing all. We are not. Who's
But
we're
guys,
not
but
digging
guys,
up
what you don't
grandma.
understand, it's like it's a comment on neoliberalism and like capitalism and all that nonsense. We gotta dig up the corpses.
So like,
I don't see what
Yeah.
I don't
I have
see it
two
yet.
thoughts on that. I'm like, one, a body will start to decompose within literally like,
Well, we also
it's not it's a
depending
short
if they
time span, but also
Yeah.
like when a lot of for funerals, there's a lot of embalming going on.
I was just gonna
And,
say
like-
that there's so many chemicals and things
Yeah, like-
inside of our
Yeah.
dead that like
You're
this,
really gonna
this is
eat a
insane.
body that's been embalmed with formaldehyde? Like, are you for
So
real, bro?
it kind of makes sense that like, oh, you're recently dead are
Mhm.
being like stolen and chopped up and hacked up and eaten. Okay, but then when I read, oh, they're digging up. Oh, okay, no, they're not.
Yeah,
no,
they're
they're
not.
not.
exactly.
No, they're
They're not.
not. Stop
No,
it.
nobody's
Yeah,
doing that.
I
Nobody's that
I
hungry. Okay.
appreciate I can appreciate Falgi trying to see the line here, but I really don't see what the commentary is so far, or in the small synopsis we've gotten so far of
Yeah.
what the allegories are to the real world.
So
I- yeah.
the book is not giving a message. Rather, it's pulling your leg on one of those. We live in a society, and everybody will backstab everybody.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
That's
it's
it.
very much a we live in society.
Yeah.
So I pulled up 2 more pages we can read, and then I'll keep complaining.
Give me one.
He opens the window. The heat is suffocating.
Oh wait, where are
He
we?
stands there
Wait.
smoking and breathes the still night. With cows and pigs, it was easy.
That
It was
is-
a trade he'd learned at the cypress.
Okay, where are
At
you?
the meat processing plant where he inherited. What's up?
I need you to stop because I have no. That's not what I have up. It might be a little bit easier if I'm the one reading it, only because I can't. If I
I
have,
like cat reading.
I like cat reading too, but I don't know what thing he's doing.
Or what page is on?
Yeah, what page he's on. That's the issue because I don't have the meat press one.
Still on the first page, according to my own book.
So I have
Yeah.
in our live chat, Kat, I pulled up a couple screenshots.
Go up 2 paragraphs.
Okay. So how do I don't. Okay. I have that he wishes he could anesthetize him. I don't think you understand. Is that we have
Just it's the
Screen.
one right before that.
Oh yeah, because I cut that page in half, so you can finish reading and then just keep going down. Because I didn't know how much. I was trying to cut out some of the fluff, but like it's all good.
Hold on.
yeah.
I'll
that-
go to yours.
that's what I'm
He
confused. by.
wishes he could anesthetize himself and live without feeling anything. Act automatically, observe, breathe, and nothing more. See everything, understand, and not talk. But the memories are there. They remain with him. Many people have normalized what the media insists on calling the transition, but he hasn't, because he knows
Hmm.
that the transition is a word that doesn't convey how quickly and ruthless the process was. One word to sum up and clarify the unfathomable and empty word: change, transformation, shift. Synonyms that appear to mean the same thing, though the choice of one over the other speaks to a distinctive view of the world. They've all normalized cannibalism, he thinks. Cannibalism is another word that could cause him major problems.
I don't. So that's. It's one of those things where I don't. How do I say this? Moisterly says it very well. It's a lot of showing, not. It's a lot of telling, not showing. It's very flowery language. But the issue with like something that's overly verbose and flowery sometimes, in my experience of reading now, this is just my personal experience. It doesn't help. Rita has a really good question. What the fuck about the fish?
Fish are animals, so
Those are gone too.
everything's split up between humans and animals. If you're an animal, it's infected. If you're a human,
Yeah.
you're gonna eat people. And no bugs? Question mark.
Yeah.
Do they mention crustaceans at all? Like
No.
All
crabs,
well,
shrimp?
No.
Lobster?
Shoot everything. Everything dead.
Lobsters is shrimps is bugs. That is true.
Shrimps is bugs. They're tasty.
Shrimps is
Lobsters are now
bugs.
bugs. Cephalopods? Amphibians?
Lobster is a bug. Jellyfish don't have brains. How's it gonna affect their brains? That's a good point.
Well, I don't think you can really eat those though.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
eat jellyfish.
Yeah, people eat
Mhm.
jellyfish.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on the jellyfish.
I mean, yeah, it
Depends on
depends on the
jellyfish.
jellyfish, but you
I
can
guess
eat
I've just never seen
jellyfish.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's like a really interesting. That's like a really interesting kind of like dissection. Axis also puts up a really good point. It's like we're kind of like if we had the technology and the ability to make humans cattle, we should be at the technology and the ability to at least have some form of synthetic meat, which
Yeah,
we
what
are.
does
We
book come
already
out?
do have synthetic meat.
Yeah, but I mean like actual like, but I mean like meat.
They should
meat.
also have the ability to separate sick animal and healthy animal,
Like a normal
Like a
normal farm.
like a
like a
normal,
normal
food
society.
plant.
I never worked in a professional slaughter anything, but I used to raise my own meat. I used to raise goats and chickens and other poultry and stuff. When an animal is sick, if you don't want the other one sick, you just take it away from the other animals and help it get better. Like this book pisses me off on so many levels. And yeah, no, actually I didn't even think about that. Yeah, fish and all that. The last screenshot I sent is kind of the only thing we're ever really gonna get about what they try to do to help the animals, and that's kind of just it. Where again, I don't know, we're just immediately dipped into a world where everyone just suddenly accepts that we're gonna eat grandma and buy special meat from the store.
What do you mean? What do you mean we're not going to eat grandma? I love eating grandma. Grandma's great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Someone please clip that. Please clip that, please.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can eat my grandma. She's dead. Like, I don't know what the fuck I can tell you.
They're gonna dig her up in this book.
People don't want to. You're the one who said you want to.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, they can eat my grandma. Like,
No,
please.
not they. You're the one who said it.
you
wanted
want to
to.
eat grandma.
Eat,
said-
eat,
you
eat.
said you like-
Marina!
Okay, Christian.
No! No, it's absurd.
All right,
I'm getting
I'm gonna keep-
absorbed.
I'm gonna keep reading. So he remembers when they announced the existence of GGB, the mass hysteria, the suicides, the fear. After GGB, animals could no longer be eaten because they'd been infected by a virus that was fatal to humans. That it was the official line. The words carry the weight necessary to mold us, to suppress all questions, he thinks. Barefoot, he walks through the house. After GGB, the world changed definitively. Oh my god.
Definitively.
They tried vaccines, antidotes, but the virus resisted and mutated. He remembers the articles that spoke of the
Okay.
revenge of the
Okay.
heathens.
Okay, time out. If
Yeah.
this is some super mega virus that is not treatable by vaccines, antidotes, or any other kind of medication, this would be a cross-species virus.
Yes.
The virus.
Thank you. I was gonna say it too.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
disease would be mega cross-species because that is the whole. That's the like for things like monkeypox and other things like that, like diseases that are that cross. We'd all. Quantum is right. We'd all fucking die.
We all die.
There is.
No, but humans are like based and cool, you guys. You don't get it.
Yeah, well, because that's always the thing. I understand. So this is a little bit of back.
No gooning, no grandma.
No gooning, no grandma. God, fuck it, damn it. Listen. If you want to eat my grandma, go for it. You'll absorb her racism.
Stop saying that. Stop saying that.
Please.
For the love of God, please.
No, so one of the things I love is movies. And I really respect a lot of novels.
I didn't know this. I didn't hear about this.
Oh, I love movies.
When was this? When were you going to tell me this?
I love movies.
Valgy watches movies.
You
I
keep
Oh,
a
yeah?
lot of things away from us.
do.
Oh, yeah?
I do.
Name every movie.
Name every movie ever.
Okay,
Name
so
every woman.
every movie ever. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3.
Why are you
Oh, God.
only naming animated movies? How did you only name animated movies? You had 4 movies.
Well, so getting into it, right? So when we're looking at movies, the way that films work is that showing the screen, there's a thing called show don't tell, right? So it's showing an action that takes place. I respect a lot of books that are able to process and do the same thing in novelization form. For as much as I don't like the books and I think they're poorly written, J.K. Rowling did that with Harry Potter. I don't think they're written well. I've never thought they were written well, even as a child, but she was able to do it. The problem with this kind of novel, and a problem I have with certain novelizations when it comes to medical facts and super diseases, is so there's a level of suspension of belief that is involved with them, but then you have one thought that doesn't make sense, where it's, what happens when the disease does the disease thing? We live in a post-COVID like 19 scenario. Like we live in a post-COVID-19 era. So we know that, like, we know a little bit more about diseases as a populace now. So it's really hard to suspend a level of belief. Now, I understand that this book was made in 2017, but it doesn't feel like the author...
It's not old enough to for any bullshit you're about to say.
Rena brings up a
Right.
good point. Like she just said, are they trying to find a cure for the virus still? Like, you'd think they'd still be working on it, but it sounds like they just kind of, well, it keeps mutating, so we're just
More
gonna
cannibals
fucking
now.
give
Th-
up
this
on
is
it.
the fix.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too. American Harry Potter would have been Wingardium Leviosa.
That would have been way more entertaining.
I've always said that. I've
so-
always said that.
So yeah, it's cross species. We would all be dead. And again, I can suspend my belief. I'm not, again, I read books where like people like basically explode, right? Like, but it's just like I'm reading this and I'm just like, this isn't how anything works. And so the rest of the paragraph is this. He remembers the articles that spoke of the revenge of the vegans, other acts of violence against animals, doctors on television. Let's see, the revenge of the vegans, others about acts of violence against animals, doctors on television explaining what to do about the lack of protein, journalists confirming that there wasn't yet a cure for the animal virus. He sighs and lights another cigarette.
Did he
So we're
finish
just
the
in-
first one? He's just
Yeah.
two cigarettes.
Bugs.
He's just
So-
dual wielding.
He's
Yeah, so-
dual wielding. He is
He's
the
so
Black
broody
Swordsman.
that he's so broody. He's just like, he's got a cigarette in each
He
in each hand,
smoked
just-
that fast. You just chained it like.
That is, yeah,
Well,
he
you gotta-
chained that
It's
shit.
also
down.
supposed to show like, oh, I'm thinking about this. I'm so stressed. Everything is so hard for me.
Mm.
And he's the only one.
He's doing that thing where you light one cigarette with the butt of the other cigarette you just finished.
So this is something that's really interesting about this book that I'm not necessarily having an issue with, but I'm already seeing something that bothers me. This plot explanation is better off for a kind of this plot works better for a book that is like a zombie-like thing where
Yeah.
they eat something and it changes their brains, so people are starting to eat each other like a human, like a human spread rabies. In a way, obviously rabies
Yeah,
is a
exactly,
thing.
Axis. It's that. He smokes because he's so stressed, he's so tortured.
Yeah.
That's all that reads to me. It's just like, bro, you just lit a cigarette. What are we doing?
So I have another question. So if this virus has affected every single animal that has ever existed and will ever exist ever, does that mean they have to like build more solidified like barriers around cities to prevent animals from just like randomly attacking people at will? The billions of animals on our planet that we have to like just go genocidal on them?
So
Just
no.
birds coming out of the air just dive bombing your ass?
No, because honestly, I can't even. The only part I remember where the animals were being aggressive is there's a bit where he visits a zoo. The zoo is completely abandoned, and this isn't even like this not even a spoiler. Nothing fucking happens. So he goes to the zoo, and there's a couple of wild animals that they just couldn't be bothered to kill, I guess, because he mentions that he has to sneak around so the other animals don't see him. But all the animals are calm and fine. But he knows if the authorities caught him or if the authorities see the animals being fine, that to keep the status quo, they'll have to kill the animals. It's supposed to be like a government bad moment, I think. And all he does in the zoo is think about how great everything was before he had to work for a human breeder, basically. That's all that fucking zoo part does.
Couldn't they
It's-
test? Isn't there a test to see if these animals are still
Yeah.
contagious?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing too that I find really interesting, and what this is giving to me is like weird allusions to I Am Legend, or some people know the book as I Am Legend. It's also been adapted into the movie as such, or the Omega Man.
Yep, the Omega Man.
Yeah.
Vincent Price.
Yeah, Vincent Price. But it's giving allusions to this where we live in a weird dystopian future. So this is something I ask. So the main character goes to a zoo. Our main character, Marcos, what does he work for?
So Marcos works as a middleman for these breeding human meat places. So he specifically works for a tannery, which I'll let Kat take over that part mostly because so he works for a tannery, and his job is he just talks to other big wig people about how much head or how many people they need for whatever they're trying to do. Like, it's off mentioned when he talks to his boss that they need black skin, and that we need a lot more people with black skin, and that we got to do this and this and that. Oh yeah, 100%. But he says, but his boss talks about how only the finest skins are pure white skin with no marks, no anything on them. So that's his boss, and you're supposed to like get the feeling that his boss is like a crazy person, because it mentions in the book that before the transition, before we all started eating people, that people thought that his boss like skinned people alive in his basement because he's so crazy and powerful and scary. And it's just like, why is this here?
So
why is this here? So
I'm
just casual racism.
Yeah, I'm
100%.
I'm really I'm confused then. If this man is so dialectically opposed to working in the tannery and everything, why is he working there?
So, like I said before,
does he have no other choice?
It's not. He probably does, and he's just an asshole.
Freedom.
So, like
communism.
Yeah,
he has freedom of will.
It's communism.
He does.
He could have left for any other job at any point.
Yeah, but he mentions that the reason why he's there is to be able to afford to keep his dad in this special nursing home that won't let him be eaten by scavengers or whatever.
Yeah, like, do other jobs just not exist in this world? Like,
yeah, because like
is baking not a thing?
Yeah, because that's what I'm about to ask was, is this a world that is ravaged by the elements? Like,
no,
I think and that's a thing.
Everything is perfectly normal except
modern society.
Yeah, it's perfectly
like
modern society.
10 years from now, maybe.
Yeah.
So
10 years from now,
yeah,
maybe no animals, no old people.
Fucking.
There are a few parts of the story.
Sounds like paradise, actually.
Yeah, honestly
where
speaking,
he will visit
his
sister, and like then he will visit his sister, and he'll be like, "Oh, my sister lives in a nice home with her husband and children. Oh, I'm disgusted because they eat meat, the same meat I provide."
Yeah, it's supposed to be like this. Oh, I hate my sister for having meat in her home. Meanwhile, he's on his way to some bigwig to sell like 100 human people for skinning and meat. It's so stupid.
Wait,
how dare they partake in this service that I am providing?
Wait, that brings up a really interesting question that I have an issue with.
Oh, okay. Go first.
Yeah, because I have an issue with this. If the book is presenting it in a way in which people are eating other people, is it illegal to eat live range people? I.e., I'm living in New York City and I'm walking down the street and somebody kidnaps me off the fucking street and eats me. Are those people charged with a crime?
Yes.
So then
yes, because you're still like
society.
A person.
Yeah.
However, it is
they're
mentioned.
Not the heads.
Yeah, it is mentioned that there are people who, because I mentioned in the blurb that there's like a special breed of human. So the special or the pure breeds, they are just people who are. Hello. They're just people who never grew up in society. So they're purebred in the fact that they've only ever known life inside of containment, basically.
But then that's 10 years. But that's 10 years old.
But they also just happen to be perfectly white or whatever. But like, you know.
So
whatever.
like, what determines whether or not like you're one of these? I have a hard time saying pure breed.
What determines that you're the human pet?
Yeah. Yes, Summer Smith. What determines you're the human pet?
So one of the things I sent was sort of an example of that. So he's still smoking both of his cigarettes. He's huffing and puffing away. He's still in his house.
It's dual
He re-
wielding.
So it's the one. If you want to show it on screen, it is the one where it starts where he read the news and he shuddered.
I
start
got
with
you. I got you. You want me to read it or somebody read
Oh,
it?
Slaw, hey, what's up?
Hey, Slaw, we missed you,
Hey,
buddy.
Pimply Q, hey, what's up?
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. They give him a oh, you've read it. Oh my god, thank you. Oh my god. Yeah, there is so yeah, a lot of them who are purebred or whatever, or even just born in containment, they're given a special hormone diet or whatever, so they grow faster.
Okay, but
So
then
you essentially have these
Yeah, but that's not what that's not what I asked though.
no.
I was gonna forget that because honestly that plot point is so dumb to me that it makes me scream.
I just got up from my fucking chair because if they can make a special fucking growth hormone, how can they not fucking solve the disease?
If they can make a growth hormone, how can they not create artificial proteins? Because we can already do
That
that.
seems easier. Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems
Because-
easier.
But you have to understand the government.
So is it really a form of population control that the government,
That's what our main
the
character
Illuminati,
thinks.
That's
the Illuminati, the
insane.
New World Order created
Yeah.
a virus in order to create population control.
Oh no, it's not just white people, Rena. But his boss just mentions that white skin makes the
Yeah.
best leather.
I was about to say you also have to remember
it's
that this
something that is
this book
punched out in the
technically takes place in Argentina, from what I
So
understand.
next question. Why? Okay, great. We can't eat animals, we can't eat cows, fine,
Yeah.
whatever. What is stopping anyone from still using them as a source of material such as leather? Why did we have to go straight from, well, we got to eat people, so we might as well also use them as,
Oh no, that is what
um,
happens. So there's
Use
breeding
every
centers.
piece, I guess.
Yeah, there's breeding centers for leather, fat, organs. Like there's all these different things.
But you can still do that with animals. You don't have to
not if
eat
there's no
them.
animals.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the things that's so far frustrated me about this book.
Moist teeth. I hate to tell you this. Dairy is not off the table because guess where the dairy comes from?
Well,
I got nipple. Can you milk me?
Cybersmith would be happy. Baba, trans
I don't think
titty
this is how
milk
he
now.
wants it.
Da-na-na,
Don't-
da-na-na.
First of all, leave him
Technically,
alone.
humans still
First
milk,
First of all,
so you know.
first of all, leave him alone. Second of all, I don't think this is what he wants.
Oh well, I mean,
Don't make fun of him like that.
I'm not making fun of him. It's just the trans titty milk. It's actually kind of funny.
Technically, there can still be dairy.
Oh my
I'm just
God,
saying.
We don't know. We don't know if the if the virus is transmittable through dairy.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying
There's a lot of
is
questions that aren't
Yeah.
answered.
we have Grum's personal fantasy come to life with the breast milk
Who?
can be now dairy.
Hold up,
So I do
Rita
need
is
to bring this
cooking.
up. Cattle humans are not kept as pets.
Yeah,
That is frowned upon and illegal.
I assume there are no pets in this universe as a result.
No.
I'm like,
Not
The
even
most
bugs.
You can have, The most you
Yeah.
can have in this universe is that it is mentioned that you can keep a live head in your wherever. You have to have like a meat locker basically, and you can. One of the horror aspect is that you cut apart this cattle bit by bit while it's alive, so you have the freshest meat. It's supposed to taste the best. There's tutorials on how to do it.
Because
Only like super rich people can do it because they have the space and time to do
what the
so.
fuck?
Right?
That like doesn't
But you
make any
cannot.
sense.
But you cannot keep it as a pet.
But there's no reason to have live meat because then you have to do skin grafting. Then the whole
We don't even
fucking
do that. We don't even do that with.
we don't
animal
even
pets.
do that now.
Yeah, it's considered an unbearingly like cruel to do. I don't even know if that's a word. Like that's just so off the rocker that we just don't do that in real life. Like, what the
Like,
fuck?
I know the most.
I don't cut off a cow leg and then leave
Yeah.
the rest of the cow alive. That's fun.
I think that's what's bothering me about this book is that I feel like the book is so wrapped up in its social commentary that it's also forgetting there are just things we just don't do in the real world.
But I
we-
also don't know what they're trying to say.
I
Yeah.
At this point,
wish
I'm
I
just
knew
wondering if
too.
they're just being edgy.
I mean, like-
they're just edgy posting, you know.
I guess it's like it's weird. Like I like typically when I hear about like these kind of cannibalistic novels inside of society, it is always from what I understand, it's always like a commentary on how humans essentially cannibalize one another in ways of getting to the top, or like ruining society because we're constantly like grasping at what is the next thing.
No.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just saw what painfully cute just said.
What did Pam?
Author is a TikTok vegan. All right.
No.
Is she
No
the
comment.
TikTok vegan lady?
Is it the vegan teacher?
Yo, fucking I swear to God, if it's,
It's not.
vegan
It's
teacher,
not. It's not her. There's no way. It would be way more preachy if it was.
that is so funny.
So yeah. So another thing too about the leather thing. I don't know. I never
The
had to
leather
tan
throws
anything.
me. The leather throws me.
The
Like,
leather, human leather, just doesn't work because our skin's really thin.
also,
Yeah, it's
also, fake leather already exists. It's fucking
Yeah.
Fake
plastic.
leather does already exist.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another
genuine
weird
leather.
thing.
Plastic leather.
Oh, but then plastic. Oh, anyway.
Oh, not genuine.
So okay,
Yeah,
so
oh,
the
shit.
the only thing that's left in his morning routine is that he thinks about how, like, again, when this all happened, poor people were swept off the street, immigrants, all these different types of marginalized poor people disappeared in huge ass numbers, and that's when like legalization of breeding meat for humans started, because basically it was big meat, big butcher wanted meat, and
Mm.
people wanted
So-
meat. There's no
So
like, yeah.
So the takeaway is, when push comes to shove and humans have to eat each other, they will go after marginalized peoples first, and the
Yeah.
enemy, quote unquote, first.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so lost.
The migrants and vagrants will go first because it's the people nobody will miss immediately. Which has been a story beat in a lot of those types of novels is
Because
It's the-
racist.
Yeah,
It's
and I
'cause
think
racism and
you know
the
what's-
drifters.
You know what's crazy too? I think it would have actually been a really interesting plot point if we're at the point where the virus is at its peak and only like shitty rich people are trying to do this. That would have been super interesting.
Or
To
trying to get
explore.
it started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Instead, we got
this-
man chain smoke cigarettes because he's sad.
I can't even believe I can't even believe I'm about to fucking say this, but
Oh boy.
fucking Uwe Boll's Resident Evil quadrilogy does this concept better. It's a fucking
I
corporation
don't
in
know,
the
but-
background doing everything it can because zombies exist and the rich and powerful can do whatever they want.
Oh, yeah.
But it's years after that's happened. And it also
he
exists.
made.
Mhm. I
He
think-
didn't make Resident Evil. Uwe Boll made House of the Dead.
Oh, who made fucking Resident Evil movies? Was it? I thought it was Uwe Boll.
Anderson, W.S.
No.
Anderson.
Oh, W.S.
was-
Anderson. That's right.
Yeah.
With Paul
He
W.S.
did Alien
Anderson.
vs Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also did
Um,
Alien vs Predator, and he
okay.
also did Three Musketeers, and he
Pain-
also did Monster Hunter. Okay.
Painfully Cute says, "Oh my God, this quote is from the author. I have always believed that our capitalist consumerist society, we devour each other."
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
what is it, an analogy on
that's just that. Okay.
capitalism?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's analogous.
Consumerism?
It's analogous to
It's just-
consumerism.
It's just this quote. The book is this quote. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
All
Like,
right.
you don't have to read this book. There it is. There it is, right there.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, you were gonna read this line.
What line was that? Sorry.
You said from He Read the News. I'll just read.
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I want Cloudy to read.
Okay, Claudia, read.
No, I was just gonna say this. I just said this part already. I was just saying that they took all the poor and immigrant people. I was actually gonna jump ahead where he starts going to his job because it's just him taking a shower, being sad, and he has his dick out the whole time. I don't know why we have to know that. but-
What?
What?
Okay,
I-
now
know
I
you
want
guys know
now
it.
I want Falgi to read. Now I
Okay,
want
yeah,
Falgi to read.
okay. Where's
read the dong part.
where's the dick part?
I did not put the dick part in the screenshot. So
Okay.
you'll just have to look.
Okay.
So
come
we're
on.
okay. So we get sad about that. We learn this huge jump about the world because he chain smokes cigarettes and tells us about it right in his
Where
mind.
Where did you?
He
put it?
drives to work. It's mentioned that his dad was diagnosed with dementia because the nurse from the nursing place calls him and is just like, "Oh, your dad had a little episode, but we got him. You don't have to come over or nothing." Blah 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 blah. And basically, he just explains that like, oh, some people just lost their will to live once the transition happened because they were just so sad that everyone was just eating everybody, and we live in society. So then he gets to his job. The stuff I said about his boss happens where he's just like, oh, his boss is so like feared and all this stuff. And then randomly, just straight up, the boss is just like, oh, I need 100 more black people for black skin because
Oh my God.
black leather is about to be all the rage. Like it's literally a
Oh my
line. Like I'm not being like whatever.
Do you want me to read this
So-
excerpt?
The book describes the boss as this like imposing evil guy, but every time the
Mhm.
boss talks, he's just like, "Oh yeah, by the way, can you do your job? We
Yeah.
need this for the business. Thank you."
That's
The
so
most
And then
evil part
afterwards,
about
it's
him
like,
is
"Hey,
he
you
wants,
did a
wants
really
the main
good
character to
job.
get to
I'm
work.
proud of you. Take this as a
Oh,
reward."
no.
You know
that.
what? Honestly speaking, Rena puts up a really
Real.
good point. Why can't the sister just watch the dad? Why can't the family members just like? It makes more sense for older persons with
Wow,
dementia
yeah.
with no
Is that ever,
family.
Kat, do you remember that ever being addressed? I think it's just supposed to be like
No, it was never addressed.
no, because she just lives
Uh,
like this hoity-toity kind of
But
keeping
then-
up with the Joneses kind of life.
but
That's how
then-
she's portrayed.
But,
But
then
like
she should be able to
so
do
she
it
just
then.
doesn't have time for the dad.
She should have the money
Yeah.
to take care of her
Yeah.
dad
Book
then.
straight up is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, my sister is so pretentious and an asshole, because she named the twins after herself and her husband."
Yeah,
I know
it's really
people who do that.
stupid.
I know people who actually do that. That's crazy.
Bruh.
Really? People do that? I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so my
Yeah, her sister
a
was just not
distant
involved with the
relative
dad
of
yet.
mine,
But that's overly.
a distant relative of mine named their kids after both parents.
That's
So,
okay.
Crazy.
I'll take. I think
Wow.
like juniors and stuff is weird. Like, give me my own
It's
name.
y-
What the fuck?
I don't like Junior. I mean, Junior is more acceptable, but it was both boy
The
and
boss
girl
is Bill
named
Lindbergh from
named
Office
after.
Space.
yeah, no, the kids are literally like daughter junior, son junior. That's
Yeah.
it.
That
And
is.
the protagonist goes on this like 30-minute rant about how the kids don't have these filthy kids eating meat will
Mind you,
never
they're
have an
like
identity.
they're
'cause
like
my
literally 8 and
sister
10.
stole it.
Yeah, they're literally like 8 and 10. They're like literally children,
I
and
think
he's
that,
like mad as fuck.
and this is a broader question. Does he also eat the meat?
No, that's
So
supposed to be his
Oh,
one
he's
thing.
the
Is
only
that
one.
he doesn't eat the meat. He's disgusted by it. He's
That makes
disgusted
him
by
the
his
good
job.
person.
That's what makes him the good person.
What
so
about
we're
his dad?
back. I don't think we ever.
They
I don't
don't
think-
address
Because-
that.
Yeah,
if
we never
he
know. It's
doesn't
because
and
he's an
his
old
dad
person.
does,
They probably just
and
eat
he's
him,
the
make
one
him
who
eat
feeds his
applesauce or
dad,
something.
like,
well,
isn't that just as
Yeah,
bad if he's just
so-
feeding his dad? You know?
So
His
the
dad is like
book
super
itself-
old and has dementia and stuff. So I have no
You think
idea.
he feeds his
Yeah,
dad
but-
like human meat shaped dino nuggies?
So he does not visit his dad.
Yeah,
Like
he does
often,
like
ever.
twice maybe in this
Okay.
book or once.
that's
I don't
Yeah.
honestly. I don't
so
remember.
funny.
Even that is
dad
full of
is in,
bullshit.
yeah, the dad is in like a retirement home. He's like he's in geriatrics.
Yeah.
Like other people are caring for him. He has nurses caring for him.
Yeah, but that's why he stays with this job so he can afford it. So scavengers don't come and clock dad on the head and eat him
You know, like
because we live in society.
there's so
Yeah.
many better jobs to do that pays better to take care of your dad in like hospice care.
Yeah, and
So we get past the boss. Basically, literally just he says that his boss is feared or whatever. Every time the boss talks, Kat is right. He's just like, hey, can you just like get this and that for me and like do the rest of your job? And the main character is like, heavy is my heart, blah 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 blah. So we get to a point where he has to show a German man, our German
MCID.
investor.
MCID retirement home equals well-aged cured
cured
grandpa.
grandpa. Yeah.
Jerky.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the old people. It's said to be the cheapest meat because old people are tough and old and stringy and
They're
are full of
leathery.
and they're also full of diseases. I don't know why I said that, but like okay, like
Well, because I mean, they kind of are in a weird fucking
Yeah.
way. They,
You know,
So,
dry aged
here's a-
steak is actually pretty expensive. I'm just saying.
So
Lord
here's a
help me.
little fun fact. Retirement homes have the highest STI rates.
yes, they
This
do.
is very true. This
Yeah,
oh
is
they
very
yeah, I
do.
did forget that. I mean, I
That's
don't
why
know
I'm not
who's
allowed to
eating-
go back to any of them.
We're gonna skip right over what Greg said,
Okay.
and we're gonna go back into the book. So the plot keeps going. And I'm sorry if it sounds like we're jumping around a lot. There's no plot
Yeah.
in this book. There's no conflict. There's no good thing that happens that like there's no it feels like this book never really progresses. I just learned things about this man that I hate. That's all that happens to me in this book.
Yeah, I was
So
about
we're
to
at
say.
his job. We go. He is tasked to go show around a German man because the German guy wants to buy like 100 head, but he wants to see how the breeding centers are. He wants to make sure that they're clean, that the animals are
He
clean.
wants to watch
blah, blah,
them
blah, blah,
breeding
blah.
Of
before
course
he
he'd
gets
be
to buy.
German. Of course he'd be fucking German.
And so the only, I guess, kind of cool thing is that in the book, it says that he's talking into like this translator device that translates in real time. It's supposed to be like, oh, we're like advanced society, but not really.
We have
They're
that
breeding
now.
people.
We
Well,
have
we-
that.
yeah,
I
we
know,
have
I
that
know,
now.
I know, but the way it's said in the book, it's supposed to be like shiny and new
Okay,
and cool.
okay.
It's so dumb. And so, let's see.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what they is. So there's a bit, and I'll just read it. It's literally like 2 sentences.
Mm.
The German guy asks what generation pure means because they're showing him around that he's seeing all the little animal, the little animal. He's seeing all the humans or whatever, right? He asks what generation pure is.
Mm.
FGPs are head-born and bred in captivity. They haven't been genetically modified or given injections that accelerate their growth, like the other head have. Like I said, they get this feed and injections, so they grow faster and they get so there's meat. And then they kind of just talk about how they're all kept in their own little cage. Their vocal cords are removed, and it says so they're easier to control, but it's just like. It's so they don't have to hear them scream.
Bro, this sounds like I hate to say this. This 100% sounds like fucking Cybersmith's like post.
He read the book. He was ahead of the curve.
What the fuck?
I think this author read Cybersmith's post.
Actually,
I think people steal things from Cybersmith.
If you mention that somehow the Achilles tendons are cut so they don't run, it literally they just stole Cybersmith.
Yes, I don't think that is a thing. I'll find out right now because I kind of I've been mad about this book for 2 days. So, so yeah, the vocal cords are removed. They're like they normally are like shaved or whatever. They can't talk. They're just kept in these little boxes with special feed and at some point while they're
Fresh water.
Fresh water and kibble.
Oh no!
While they're walking around,
Not the
they
fresh
mention
water
2
and
things.
kibble.
That there's 2 different types of studs. So there's like a fake stud that can tell when a head is ovulating, and then they have the actual breeding stud that actually impregnates the females. And so that is
You know what
I wish
else
I could
was
give
going
you-
around in 2017?
what
Do you guys remember that guy? What was that YouTuber, Alpha M?
I don't even know who the
Oh,
fuck that
God.
is.
This is all basically just like, yes, we have the beta cuck and the alpha.
Yeah, it's really
alpha
weird.
breeder.
It just mentions that the fake stud will try to mount the female, and that's how they know they're ovulating. But I'm like, wouldn't this normal stuff? I don't know. This book is dumb. Okay, don't make me think too hard. I'm already mad. And so they're walking through. They explain all that to the German guy.
I hate
and
this
then
already.
They're like,
I fucking hate this.
and then they're like, oh, but what do you do if they like hurt themselves or something? And then they just mention that like some of them they keep pregnant just because when women are pregnant they make all this excess blood. And then they sell that blood to hospitals. But we don't say that, and you have to have special licensing and blah blah. Shut up! Just shut up!
Wait,
Just don't hate this book.
wait. So
Yeah.
they're
Focus a
selling
lot on-
blood to hospitals, but we already kind of do that.
Right.
Yeah. So it right after mentioning
it's
that we keep
extra
pregnant
blood.
women. Yeah.
Why would we need the extra blood?
Because the society and the government.
But
so I
I
will
something.
say
Red
that we do
Cross
have a
is gone.
problem getting blood donations.
yeah, but then
I will say that.
yeah, but at that
So,
point, then it's
I just sent a blurb about
blood donations don't exist in the world. You're right, Rena.
yeah.
All right.
So right after
let me
we learn
find
about the
this.
blood thing, this is something
All right,
he
let me
says
pull this
about
up
some
on
of the pregnant
screen.
some of the pregnant females that they use.
Okay, do I have to? Okay,
So
yeah.
I do want to mention one thing, like the whole like stud thing. That doesn't really happen in like cattle breeding. It happens
Yeah.
via like literally injections with
Yeah.
bull semen.
Yeah.
They don't actually
you don't-
bring in a fucking
Yeah.
bull cow to do the breeding. They just
So-
do it via like a
Mhm.
fucking
So
Artificial
who?
turkey
inseminator.
baster, pretty much.
So
Yeah. So artificial insemination is the most common way of breeding
Yeah.
cattle.
Right.
So simply because cows can be sick, and bulls are really fucking expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, but this also like brings up something that's very interesting when we are talking about like the human growth thing that they're giving them. So it's
Guys, you see how they're ignoring
so it's totally
utters?
fine.
You see how they're ignoring the sentences on screen
Okay,
right now? I
I'll
want
read
you to
them.
keep-
I'll read them.
Yeah, go on.
Fine.
Go on.
Okay. And into the device he says, the milk from the udders is top quality. El Gringo offers them both a glass. which,
Nice.
Which
Sorry,
only
El Gringo is the head of the breeding center. Sorry.
El Gringo.
Okay.
Okay. El Gringo offers them both a
Every
glass,
chance to say it again.
which
the
only
same way.
Egmont accepts and says, recently milked. He explains that these females are skittish and have a short productive life. They get stressed easily, and when they are no longer of use, their meat has to be sent to the processing plant that supplies the fast food industry. That way he can maximize profit. Oh god, I can't speak fucking German, but I'll try.
Where's do?
The German nods and says, Sehr schmackenhaft.
All right.
Oh my god. All right, you're banned from reading.
I'm gonna let you kill you. I
And the
think.
machine translates, very tasty.
Actually, I will
tasty.
say it is schmeckelhaft.
We'll have to do
Schmeckerhaft.
later.
Yes. Schmeckhaft.
Schmeckerhaft.
So yeah, he's wandering around. He's explaining how like the females or whatever,
Mhm.
it's just not great. Like also the fresh milk. Like we're just sorry. I forgot about
Oh,
a bit
shit,
that
Moisty.
happened.
Thank you,
Oh,
Moist.
shit.
That was
Moist,
what
no.
I said earlier.
Oh,
I said,
shit.
oh, they have to be German.
No.
It's literally
Listen.
what I was referring to.
Listen, Moist, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh
Okay.
no, I just thought about it.
When I first heard German, that was the first thing I thought of.
Right after this, there's a blurb about how like, oh, the main character. I forgot to grab it, and I don't have it up right now. But basically, the main character is just like, I don't touch the product or whatever because I'm at work or some shit. So the next bit is just how they sample the quality of the head. So I'll let somebody read this next pitch.
I don't.
You want me to read it?
I've got it.
Okay. All right.
I've
All right.
I have this in my
If you embarrass us again,
If-
we're gonna veto.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you
we're
do
gonna
it again, I'm
veto?
gonna read it next one.
Okay, fair enough. Let me go pull it up. Oh, whoops, I pulled it up on the wrong page. For some reason it hates me. Okay.
Be right back.
Okay.
I would synthetic teapot. I wouldn't say this is a fetish. I would say this is just poorly executed, poorly written.
I
It's
think
supposed to
it-
be. It's
get their
supposed to
point
be for
across.
shock. You're supposed to be
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
You're
I
supposed to be
think
quaking
it's just.
in your boots, but
I
I'm
think
just
it's
mad.
someone just doing a big old edgy post.
Yeah,
Really.
Big
it's,
edgy swing.
it's
Edgy, yeah.
it reads, so from what I can tell so far, and I did read some reviews of it and things like that prior to going into this. This book it's a lot of social commentary, and the idea of why this was a New York Times bestseller and other things is that because of its grotesque nature, the idea is it's supposed to make you think. But I can already
Wrong. The reason why it became a New York Times
sold.
bestseller is because they have like 200 categories, and you just need to sell like
yes,
something like 20,000 copies to get the sticker.
4 or 6,000
Or
copies.
Or it might be
again
5,000.
to
Some
NY.
very
Yeah.
small amount.
yeah, I thought it was like 5. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
was
Tyler was
fine.
talking about it recently. That's why Shadiversity got on the bestsellers because he sold like so many copies.
Well, there's an interesting
in
conversation.
his category for
Yeah.
that week. Whatever.
Yes.
Well, the interesting thing I think of when I see books like this is that just because they are grotesque and just because they're quote unquote heady doesn't make them any good. One book that I really dislike, and everybody talks about it because of its nature of being a banned book, is Catcher in the Rye. I think Catcher in the Rye is a terrible book. I think it's
I
poorly written.
legitimately thought you were going to say the Bible.
I mean, the Bible is also terrible.
That's a take. I
The
will
Bible,
say
the
that's a
Bible's
take.
also poorly written.
No, I'm at
Uh,
Catcher in
Are we,
the
are
Rye.
we, why are
No,
we doing this?
I don't think Catcher in the Rye is a very good book. Catcher in the Rye also suffers from a really big problem of being you can't read that book and enjoy it once you're past a specific age. And it's something that has been talked about
Fair.
in circles, in literary circles. It's been talked about that The Catcher in the Rye is not that great of a book. It's just notoriety because it was banned and all these things has placed it into a spot of infamy and has made it something that people made it a must read. Doesn't mean that it's a very
I disagree
good.
with you completely. I think it's a pretty solid book. I
Okay.
like it a lot,
Okay.
and I think you are dumb. No, it's just a kid in high school going through shit, and you're just following him through his life.
Yeah.
But that's all it is. Like it doesn't feel like there's like the journey is the aspect of the book, but he is obnoxious, and he
He's
does get into a bunch of
He's
dumb shit.
obnoxious. He's an unreliable narrator. It's just not a fun read, in my opinion.
That's why I enjoy it, because he's unreliable. Because he's
I'm back.
We'll go back.
What are we talking about? American
Catcher in the Rye.
Oh,
See a body, catch a body coming through the rye.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't read it, so I don't know. Okay.
The book. I will say that when I was reading the book, the South Park episode making fun of the book was coming out at this literally that week in my class.
They're not making fun of the book. They're making fun of
Yes.
what's his face who shot
Okay, here.
John Lennon.
And
No,
not
so-
John
Ew,
Lennon.
John
So
Lennon.
if
Kill
Jay has a
John
hot take
Lennon.
on that bad book being bad, my hot take is I didn't like The Great Gatsby. That's my
I
hot
also
take.
like The Great Gatsby.
I will say this. I like The Great
thought it was
Gatsby.
boring as fuck.
I think The Great Gatsby does unreliableness a lot better than Catcher in the Rye.
I just thought it was boring. Honestly.
I
fair.
was homeschooled, so I haven't read a lot of like high
You
school
haven't read
classics.
the quote unquote standard reading material in
Yeah,
America.
because I'm gonna be real, I would pick them up in the bookstore and be like, "This shit looks boring as fuck," and I would put it back down.
Oh my god!
some of the
Axe-
points.
I read the Great
But
Gatsby
yes.
in high school.
Axis,
It's
yes.
a good book. It's alright.
It's there. So I think some of the
I know
some
what
of the books
happens
that
in
we
all the
read
books.
now.
I've
Yeah.
seen like I read like you know what makes you look smart when you're trying to pretend you're not homeschooled is you just read summaries of stuff. Or
I
you read
think
other
that-
people's reviews. And so I just did that for a lot of this kind of stuff. But it's just like,
Yeah.
I think the
I
appeal
prefer
about
reading things that make me feel bad or piss me off, and that's what this book does.
Mhm.
I like feeling things.
All right.
Which is I don't know if classics are really for that. Or if they do that anyway.
Well, let's get back into the book. Her meat is
I forgot where I was.
Her meat is quite tasty. Of course, FGP is upper grade meat, but the quality of this meat is excellent. He sees El Gringo take out a device that looks like a tube. It's one he's familiar with. They use it at the processing plant. El Gringo places one end of the tube onto the female's arm. He presses a button and she opens her mouth in pain. It leaves a wound no bigger than a millimeter on her arm, but it bleeds. El Gringo gestures to an employee who approaches to dress the wound. Inside the tube, there's a piece of meat from the female's arm. It's stretched out and very small, no bigger than half a finger. El Gringo hands it to the German and tells him to give it a try. The German hesitates, but after a few seconds, he tries it and smiles.
Dun dun dun.
So they're treating
That's
humans like
exciting.
sushi. That's
No, because actually sushi is lightly seared. You're thinking
Well,
of
yeah.
sashimi.
I meant it's sashimi. But technically, it's treating humans as like a beef tartare. But the issue is
Yep, beef tartare.
from what I remember specifically, and this is humans. We don't eat other humans because there's something in our brains that makes specifically human meat taste really, really bad because it's not that good.
Yeah, but this one is like special and cool, and they bred it different.
Special and
Who's like-
cool.
And it's,
Yeah,
it's
it's full
different.
of human growth hormone.
HGH, human growth hormone. Oh,
I also
yeah.
I don't remember why, but I don't know why the German guy doesn't just have like a name.
Well, because he's the German man. Because you
He's a
just
German dude.
because you can't
Well,
outright say Nazi.
Oh, that's a good point. Hold on.
I
mean, no, his name might be the German, but like
Mhm.
they could have like a name instead of like just this name in passing because it's what they're doing isn't illegal. So it's not like he has a code name the German.
Yeah, no, like it's like it's supposed to be like when you walk around a farm and you. Although I never been to a farm and they took a chunk of cow out for me, I'd be like, what the fuck are you
Never?
doing?
They don't do that.
Never,
That's
they
someone who
Yeah.
grew
they
up on
don't
a
do that for
farm.
you.
Yeah, she got the veal
They only
treatment.
do that
yeah.
for me.
Hmm.
Yeah, they only did it for you, Greg.
Really?
Real special.
Really?
So they finish showing the guy around, and he's like, there's a bit, I forgot to grab it. There's a bit where there's somebody in his breeding facility, they're celebrating like a birthday or something. So on the barbecue, they have like a small carcass on it. It's very obviously a child that they breeding veal. And they offer it to the German guy and to the main character who's walking around with them. The main character refuses the meat, which the head breeder guy is like, oh, no one ever refuses this. Like, this is like, half your salary or whatever.
Mm.
But the other guy eats the kid meat in like a sandwich, and it's like the fucking whole thing. So you get past that, and I guess he gets the sale or something, because this book fucking is not good at transitions. So if we go from that to he gets home, he's sad again for a bit. The next day or the next chapter, that is when he's given a purebred female that he ends up naming Jasmine. So this girl is like, she was always in containment. She was like lily white, like she's like perfectly, like she's a domesticated animal at this point. She doesn't talk, she doesn't do anything. And it's a gift from El Gringo for doing so well and showing the German guy around. And the whole
Good
time
job.
he's like,
Good job at work.
yeah.
Good
And the
job
whole
at work.
time he's
Here's
just
cattle.
like, oh, I don't want it. I don't have room for it. Take this away, like whatever. And the guy's just like, well, I can't, like, I'm gonna get fired if I bring this back, so it's your problem. And basically hands the leash to the guy and takes off. And basically mentions that this female is so high quality that he can make a small fortune off of it. He could do this and that. Instead, he gets like annoyed at it. He puts her in his barn with like some leftovers he has and a bowl of water, and then he like leaves her in there because he has shit to do
Like a
that
cat.
day. Yeah. So he goes into the city and he's gonna go see his butcher friend. There's a mention that butchers became like, minimum wage workers to like high status, high paid people because they're the ones handling the meat, right? They're the ones with the stones to do it. And of course his best friend is someone who's a butcher. And she's just the type of person who's like, she's very like, she's supposed to come off as like badass tough bitch, cold-hearted, stone wall, like, oh, she chops up this meat with precision. She didn't care that it was human. She was one of the first people who opened up and started selling it, but she called it a different name. Like what was it? There's a bit where people started just calling things like upper extremity, or they'll use the same words they would use for like pork or whatever when they describe cuts.
Like shoulder, like like loin,
Or
things like that.
she'll put her own name in front of it. It'll be like one of the things she says is something like with like the excess meat, so stuff like tongues. Oh, I have it right here. So let's see. Then she added a package of feet, which were displayed on a bed of lettuce with the label lower extremity. And later on, a platter with tongues, penises, noses, testicles, and a sign that said, Spaniel's delicacies.
Wow.
So then they have sex in the back of her shop.
We were there.
That's basically how fast it
Okay.
happens. So they have sex in the back of her shop. He doesn't let her. She doesn't let him touch or kiss. It's just sex on her weird little butcher's table. And then after,
I was about to ask, is it on her cutting board? And apparently, lo and behold, there you go.
Cutting board.
And so while they're talking afterwards, he's like, "Well, why don't you
didn't warn
quit
me
this
this story
job?"
got good.
No gooning allowed. Okay.
No gooning
So
allowed.
right after they have sex, and he's like, "Why don't you get a different job if you're not happy? Why don't you do this and that?" And then she says this
Bitch, it
bullshit.
pays the bills. What do you mean?
That I just sent you.
Oh my god.
It's not very hygienic, moist. Oh yeah, there's also a bit while they're having sex. He's like, "Oh, I can't believe I have to see a human torso or some shit."
Oh my god.
Also, I'm doing this off of the top of my head. It's not verbatim because it pisses me off.
I
don't
was
like
about
looking
I
at
was
this
about
book.
to say this is a quick summary of the book. If you guys would
Yeah.
like to, we are just kind of going through books.
I'm mostly just doing more screenshots in the beginning of the book, mostly because I may have woken up late and I didn't do the rest of the book.
It's
However, I do remember a lot of the good parts, so I will just skip ahead to those, and
We-
if I need screenshots, I will.
we do it live. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's see. Hold up.
So now he has a human.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess what he begins to feel?
Empathy.
Compassion.
As if it wasn't telegraphed.
Okay, but hold
It
up.
is very telegraphed. The factory sent him a woman.
Yeah, as a gift.
The wife left him basically a year ago, so
Oh,
he lives
no.
alone in a farm with a new puppy he found in the zoo.
He did. Hold up.
Yeah.
Let's read this, and I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, real quick. This is just to sum up his best friend's character. This is how she talks.
All
This
right,
guy's a friend.
all right, chat. We're gonna try something really funny, and if you don't like it, well, it's gonna.
Don't do it.
It's
Oh, he's
gonna.
gonna do
Don't
it.
not,
one of
don't
your
not.
racist
It
voices
genuinely,
again.
it genuinely doesn't.
Again.
It genuinely doesn't sound good. It genuinely, we can't understand what you're
What do
saying.
you
We
mean?
can't
Well,
separate the words from each other.
Okay, hold up.
Oh, I know what you're
We're
gonna do.
gonna try it. We're gonna try it. Hold up, chat.
No, wait, everyone said no.
No, chat.
I know that when I
Oh.
die, somebody's going to sell my flesh on the black market.
Oh,
One of my awful distant
guys suck.
relatives. That's why I smoke and drink. So I taste bitter, and no one gets pleasure out of my death. She takes a quick drag and says, "Today I'm the butcher. Tomorrow I might be cattle."
Jesus
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
That's how she talks.
Also, I want to just point out that my co-host cucked content. I need people to know that.
The voice changer doesn't work. You need to get a better one.
What do you-
I'm
what do you-
not
what do you
kidding.
mean?
We
What do you
can't
mean? What do you
understand
mean?
what
Need
you're
a
saying.
better mixed board.
You're telling
You
me
need a better
this
mix
doesn't
board
sound
before you do
good?
that.
This doesn't sound good, chat. This sounds great, doesn't it? You can hear everything I'm saying.
Who is
Oh
that?
my.
Ro has a bucket over his head.
It sounds like you're across the room.
Chat. That was great, right? This episode kicked off. Yeah, this is the episode where I get kicked off. Bitch, it's my stream. I'm the one that hosts all this shit.
Are you guys ready for the Opp Block 2?
Yeah.
I do.
Two up, two block.
So we get back. So they have
love you
sad
guys.
sex because his wife is gone.
They have sad
because
sex.
they lost. The reason why she leaves is because they lost their baby. They're very sad. Not make fun of that. Whatever, right?
Do
I
they
will
have to
make
eat
fun
it?
of. I don't think they ate it. I'm pretty sure they did.
Ate
He
it.
does not.
Okay, thank you. I genuinely could not remember. I'm so sorry.
Mhm.
So what? Oh,
What?
screen right now.
You have audio settings on your screen. Up.
Oh, professional streamer.
What do you mean I have audio settings on my screen?
You have audio settings on your
there
screen.
it
The
is.
audio
There you go.
settings are on the screen.
What do you mean? There's nothing on my
Professional
screen.
streamer.
What is on my
Not now.
screen?
Okay. What
It's
were you
fine,
just
it's
doing?
fine.
Oh, it's on my PNG tuber because it's like every time I notice the PNG tuber
Okay.
just like reacts weirdly. And so I'm trying to figure out why it keeps doing that. Because it just will just fucking oscillate when there's no noise in my home. So I'm
Oh,
trying a
okay.
new sound canceling thing.
So I
Okay,
opened
so,
the book
yeah.
in a
Really
random
funny,
spot.
actually.
You
This
just
is
flipped
chapter
through.
20. I wanted to go back to him just fucking hating his sister for
Yeah.
no fucking reason.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually-
I'm
that's a good
down
one.
with that.
Before-
If you can send that
I'm
to
about to
me.
say if we go through the sister and we go through
I have the book
dad
physically
before
in my hands. I
before
can't
we
send
go
that.
through. I'm about to say if we go through the family dynamic before we get into all the stupid shit with his pet, I think that's good. We can wrap it up there, or at least we'll finish this part of it. Because I do, if we have time, I do want to compare it to an actual way better book about cannibalism than this one. So
The kids are twins, a girl and a boy. They barely speak, and when they do, it's to each other in whispers, using secret codes and words with meanings that are only implied. He looks at them as though they are a strange animal, made up of two separate parts, activated by a single mind. His sister insists in calling them the kids, when everyone else refers to them as the twins. His sister and her idiotic rules.
What?
You
What?
didn't say hi to Uncle Marquitos. He gets up from the kitchen table and walks slowly to the dining room.
I don't
What he wants
understand.
is for the formality to be over, to end this obligatory visit. He is
Bro, you
such an
drove over.
asshole.
You could just not go
Bro-
if you're gonna
bro,
be a
you
fucking
drove
stick in the
over.
mud. Yeah, he drove over. You could just not go.
Yeah,
brother,
why
it's
did you
alright.
why did you go to their home? I'm so confused.
You know those kids feel the bad vibes. You know what I mean?
Yo,
You're just
yeah.
like, why is he such a like? Why is he so?
That's why they
mean all
don't
the
talk to
time?
him.
Yeah.
But here's the question. Do you think the kids eat SpaghettiOs?
No,
They eat people O's.
But yeah,
Fuck
they changed it to
me!
special
Come on.
O's.
I was trying to say human O's, but people O's.
Yeah.
Human O's, people O's.
So funny you should mention.
No. Not funny I
Log
should
pig
fucking
O's.
mention.
The twins eat the special kidneys prepared with lemon and herbs, the potatoes alla provinciale, and the peas. They savor the meat while they look at him with curiosity. He sees the boy, Estebancito, gesture to the girl, Maru. He always laughs at the thought of the catastrophic dilemma his sister would have found herself in if she had 2 girls or 2 boys. Parents who name their children after themselves are stripping them of any identity remaining in them,
That's
a
crazy.
who they
weird
belong
take.
to.
Hmm.
He just fucking hates his family.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just hates his family. And again, I personally don't. I'm not super into junior names. Like, if I had a kid, I wouldn't do that. But it's also just like the kids will grow up and be their own little person. Like, it's
Yeah.
not. What are you doing, buddy?
What's-
You're just projecting
lot
all
of-
this hate and bad vibes onto these kids, and that's why they don't talk. to
So
you.
one of the
And a lot of
things
time it's carrying a legacy and tradition of your
Mhm.
family,
Yeah.
your family name, including your first and last name. Yeah.
So one of the things that actually bothers me about this novel that I really just thought about is there's no conflict in the sense of there's no like. So in a book like this where everything is potentially solved, they have their own human cattle and he is a vegan. There is no conflict in regards to the fact that he's not in danger of being eaten. He's not. His dad is
So-
somewhat in danger of being eaten. But
Yes.
but the thing is that
But
like
he's fine.
yeah, his dad can die
He's
at any
having-
fucking time.
He's having internal conflicts
So
about his
so
living
I'll skip
situation.
around a little bit.
Yeah.
So
But it's
I
not
just
enough
sent-
though. You need both internal and external conflict for a
Someone did
novel.
mention
Oh, to be
like
interesting.
slavery,
Yeah.
and I did find the blurb where it talks about owning slaves, so you can go ahead and read that, and then I'll talk about some of the stuff that happens in the middle.
Okay, let me get to where you guys have that in slavery tab.
There's no slavery tab. Don't say that.
Don't say that or discard as a slavery tab. You're gonna.
That's
It's
make us
not.
look all bad.
It's not what I
Disavowed, disavowed, disavowed.
Disavow. Okay. Owning slaves is prohibited. He remembers the allegations against the family that was later prosecuted for keeping 10 female slaves in a clandestine workshop. They were branded. The family had bought them for a breeding center and trained them. They'd all had taken to the municipal slaughterhouse. The females and the family became meat. The press reported on the case for weeks. He remembers that there was a sentence that everyone repeated horrified. Slavery is barbaric. But that doesn't make any sense though, because you have a special you have a special class of eating human.
I know
Yeah,
where the
but if you keep slaves, you will become the special meat. Is basically
So, I know where the writer got this idea from. Back during this time, there was a cult named Nexium. And the dude that ran this fucking cult, and it was mostly women, he would get them all tattooed.
Oh God.
Well, on their
It was a
genitals.
thing
specifically.
around
Yeah.
the time this book came out.
I mean,
What the fuck?
Yeah,
fucking
the
guy
cattle. It is mentioned that
Keith
the cattle in
Raniere.
the breeding
Yeah,
center
Keith
they
Raniere.
do have like tattoos like on their forehead or something. But it's just like it's like tagging a cow or something.
yeah,
Like, that's basically how it's
I was
treated.
about to say it.
Yeah, someone asked about slaves. This is how they feel about slaves.
Yeah.
So again, he
But that
visits
wouldn't-
his
but that
sister.
wouldn't make any
He's really
sense.
pissy about it. And then after he visits his sister, he's like, "Oh, normally I would go have fun in the city, or I would go visit the zoo again and have peace, but I have to go take care of the problem I was given," referring to the girl that he was given. So he goes back home. and I don't remember this exact sequence, but basically he goes back home and she ate the little leftover. She's all curled up on the floor because like she don't know how to do anything. And so he goes back inside. He had bought some special feed for her because there is feed you can just buy domestically, which is really weird that since you can't like have one as a pet. It's really stupid. Anyway, so he refills her water, treats her like a little pet, gives her blankets, but she doesn't know what to do with the blanket because she's like, a cow lady person. And then he it's like, oh, what am I gonna do with you? Good night. Next day, he's back at the plant. He has to show two new guys around, but not before they mention that one of the night guards has taken one of the females out of her pen. Trigger warning again. I told the trigger warning. A lot of bad things happen in this book. I'm just saying right now. Oh, sorry, Doc. Anyway, so trigger warning. A lot of bad things happen in this book, including a lot of forced things. So feel free to tap out at any time. So it's mentioned that one of the night guards took a female cow person from their pen, R-worded her to death, and threw her back in and is on the run. That is a sentence that happened and is thrown away and never acknowledged again.
So that's something that's where I start getting a little frustrated with this book right now, is because if you are creating a class of human that is essentially treated like an animal, right? You're essentially treating them like an animal. They themselves are not being treated properly. What you're then saying...
Wait.
No. This comes back to the slavery thing, right? This book would be more... The book would be better served if they don't care. The fact that they have all these laws still doesn't make any sense. It doesn't feel like it's not dystopian enough. That's the thing.
I agree.
There are so many laws. Like this is not,
because you're protecting your property. So the way it's seen is that you ruined my piece of property. I'm going to get you for breaking my property. Right. It's not seen as hurting a person. So that happens, and then he immediately has to show some new guys around. And so there's a mention right with the new guys that sometimes we have big applicants because they just want to see the people get slaughtered. And it's kind of implied that one of the guys is like that because he keeps asking weird questions, or he wants to do the killing, but he can't because he doesn't work there. But they get to watch the killings and stuff. It basically just goes through the process of butchering these people. So, and it's just one of those things like you stun. Like if I'm talking about cows, you stun the animal before you slice its throat, you hang it up, you let the blood drain, all that stuff. There's a moment where one of the people who are doing the stunning gets distracted, doesn't cut the cows or the head's throat in time. So she basically has like a violent tremor, is scared out of her mind, and then he puts it down. The main character pulls him aside and is just like, hey, that head died scared and in pain, so the meat is going to be bad. Which is like a thing in cattle when you raise meat. Yep. You don't want your animals, you want to treat your animals nicely. You want your animals to be like, they need to go peacefully and not in pain. Otherwise, you actually do ruin the meat, which is a very like, maybe it's a weird way to look at it, but like I grew up with that kind of stuff. In general, just like if you're raising animals, you treat them with respect. And when it's time for them to go, you don't do anything you don't need to do with it. You know what I mean? So there's that bit, and then there's a part where like it talks about like you have to take out its entrails and all that stuff is separated. It talks about like all like different organs and different things go to different places. It talks about how there's a part of the breeding center where they actually overfeed some of the head, so they're fat. So the fat can be used to make things like everything that we use fat for. So like think about we're just making human Crisco basically.
Well, that's nice to know.
Soap and stuff.
Yeah, but don't we? But we we also have vegetable shortening though.
Yep.
So
but vegetable bad.
I found the actual book part. They were sacrificing a cult member. Here it is. So the quick gist is that one of the inexperienced guys was on the floor, and it goes, Claudia Ramos broke free, frightened, and ran off. She ran desperately through the plant.
Really quick. I haven't mentioned the cultists yet, because that's kind of towards the end. So there's kind of a cult that thinks that being sacrificed for the greater good, being sacrificed for humanity, is the best thing you could do for society. So there is a small amount of people who voluntarily go into the plant and say, I want to be processed.
Amazing.
That is what this person, that's what Kat's talking about. Go ahead.
Do they let them do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But
Okay.
they
then-
are signing a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
but-
signed a bunch of stuff. And honestly, I think, doesn't their meat just get
Yeah.
tossed to the scavengers or something?
That's what
Yes.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's
Since
not the
it's,
special grade.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then
no,
that
it's more along the lines of this is still considered a person, therefore we cannot use it.
Yeah, so they just toss the fresh meat out to the poor scavenging people that are always outside their gates for some reason.
but
Yeah.
but if meat has, so that's the other thing too. If there are all these laws, right, and
Yeah.
unless human civilization has fallen to the wayside, that doesn't mean that the rich people get food. It's the fact that they have plants. If we're going to assume that they have plants ready to go for human consumption, they would be all over the world and people would just be living normal lives in 10 years if we're exceeding that period of time. That's where, like, the logic is not logicking. There's too many plot holes in this story.
There's
Listen,
Opp
you're
Block is
thinking
the
too
plot
hard,
hole.
okay? You're thinking too hard. Listen, the government and society. That's all you need to know.
I don't.
Ricardo grabbed her arm as though she were an animal. Ricardo tried to remove her tunic so she'd be naked for stunning and was somewhat violent and disrespectful with her.
And
Claudia
again,
Ramos broke
the
free
cultists wear tunics. That's
frightened,
just okay.
and ran off. She ran desperately through the plant, from room to room, shouting, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, until she reached the unloading sector and saw a lot of head coming down from the trucks. She went straight for them, yelling, No, don't kill us, please, no, don't kill us, don't kill us. He looked on as Sergio, who had seen her approaching at full speed, and knew she was from the Church of the Immolation, because head don't talk, grabbed his club, which he was never without, and stunned her, with such precision that they were all amazed. He'd run after Claudia Ramos, but hadn't been able to catch her. When he saw Sergio stun her, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then he called security on his walkie-talkie and asked if the church member had left just now. The guard answered. It was then that he ordered 2 workers to take the woman to the scavenger sector. An unconscious Claudia was cut to pieces with machetes and knives and devoured by the scavengers lurking nearby, meters away from the electric fence. They
Yeah,
didn't even kill her.
didn't even kill her.
They
He just stunned
they
her,
just
threw her
stunned
over the
her.
fence, and let the scavengers just rip her apart.
Yeah. It was straight up just, did the cult leave? Yes. Okay, throw her body. She's still alive, but just throw her over. Who cares?
Yeah. Also, this is never like as suddenly as we brought this up. That's as suddenly as it comes and goes in the book.
Also, in the same chapter, like he's like, "Oh man, I have to go to work now." Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. He has to get going, but first he wants to have some mate time with Jasmine.
Oh, wait,
No.
I didn't get to that part yet. Spoilers. Guess what he does to the girl in his barn? Very bad. Don't
It's
do
not
that.
a spoiler.
L
It's
thumbs
not
down.
a spoiler.
This is your protagonist.
Yeah. So
This is
a
your
little-
guy.
A little bit before
This
that,
is your peek into this
he
world.
has a day off. I don't remember the exact thing. I'm not gonna lie. When I was going through the book again, I didn't remember it. Basically, he has a day off, and like she like smells and stuff because she's just been like shitting on herself in this barn. So he takes her outside. He's hosing her down, and he like gets way too close to her while soaping her up. And it's like, oh, that's when he names her because it's like, oh, she smells like jasmines, like the flower. So I'm gonna name her the flower. And then it starts to rain, and that's what I don't like. It's kind of written like it's supposed to be romantic. It made me want to. It's gross. So it starts to rain, and he looks her in the eyes, and she's just so beautiful. And he R-words her in the rain.
So I hate this book.
Yeah.
I don't like this already.
Yeah.
But you
And,
want to
oh,
know
the
book is
conflict.
ass.
I just remembered. The conflict is supposed to be that he's not allowed to do that to the book. To the book. He's not allowed to do that to the head. It's very.
Do it to the book.
It's very implied that he's supposed to just cut this little female up and eat her, or wait till we have a special occasion barbecue. or something like that. You're not allowed to have a slave. You cannot have sex with any of the heads, and you can't do this. So the conflict of the book is he has to keep this a secret. Because remember, there's paperwork for everything. There's paper trails. There's paperwork. So the only conflict that happens in this book is that he does have someone sent from the breeding place to be like, oh, is she still alive? Can I see her? Blah blah blah. But by the time he gets to see her, by the time that guy comes around, they've had sex enough times that she's become pregnant.
Oh yeah, that's
Ugh.
great.
So he impregnates this cow lady. She has the mentality of, a toddler, less than that really. So there's a whole thing about how he has to potty train her, how he has to teach her how to wear clothes, how he had to take one of his spare rooms and basically make it into a padded room because she'll hurt herself. He teaches her that she can use like crayons on some paper, and she's like really excited about it. And it's just really, it sucks. And so in that bit where he's like, oh, I gotta go to work, but first I need to go have mating time. Ew, ew, ew. You're just ew. It's gross. It's so gross and bad. And so the whole conflict of the book is that he has to hide that he did this very illegal thing to this girl, while he's kind of teaching her how to be more of a person.
There are so many plot holes.
And I'm supposed to feel bad for this man.
So this is something that's crazy to me. I was gonna mention this before.
That's right. He gets a nanny cam to check on her while he's at work. Yep.
This is the worst. Like, this is the worst kind of born sexy yesterday. Oh my god.
Ew.
No,
Oh,
it's
no.
access.
Yeah. So
So what frustrates me?
Kat, Kat, you read the
I
book.
just read that. God damn it.
What
Kat,
frustrates?
you read the book. How did when
Yeah.
you're reading that part while they're like he's doing that to her in the rain? What did you feel?
What did
So
you
I
feel?
thought of two things. One, he's raped that woman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She is in no like area where she could possibly consent. Two, this is the equivalent of going outside and sleeping with like a cow.
Oh, this is bestiality.
Very,
and-
very literally sleeping with an animal.
That's when I threw the book. So painfully cute. So I was on a flight
what I
while I
thought.
was reading this book, and I kept getting recommended. Oh, it's so good. It's so eerie. It's so good. It's
bad.
creepy.
It's a
I
shitty
I
book.
paid $22 because you know how everything's expensive in a fucking airport. I paid $22 for this stupid ass book. No, man.
Is it-
So I'm reading this part on the book, and I want to crumple it. I want to rip it in half. I want to do something to it, but I can't because I'm in society. I'm in my society where I can't do things like that and not be seen as crazy. So I just closed it. I rested my eyes for 5 minutes, and I kept reading because I was like, I have to finish it. I bought it.
Rena
Is this like-
brings up a really good point though.
I
How
was
old is this?
Yes.
How
I
old
was
is
like,
this cattle?
So
thing?
because she's
Jasmine.
a purebred, she hasn't been modified with all the chemicals and stuff. So she is just like, I don't
Between
know.
18 and like early
This
20s.
is where I was like gonna
Yeah.
say, like, is this I'm trying to tell if this is bestiality or if it's pedophilia, and I can't tell which to be more mad about.
Well,
Bit of
So
both.
she is technically an adult,
Yeah.
but she has the mental
But then,
capacity
yeah,
she-
the
she's been
mental
kept in-
of a
part.
2-year-old.
She's been put in captivity and treated as cattle
Yeah.
for her
Arrested
whole life.
development.
yeah,
Quite
well,
literally
that's,
arrested
Yes.
development. Yeah.
that is okay. So there's
between him freaking out, between trying not to get caught because he impregnated this girl.
The main
Hold
on.
protagonist and his child bride.
yeah. Let's talk. There's
Yeah.
two timeouts for a second. One,
Fine.
cursing jam. I know you came a little bit later. So the concept of the book is that humans are being raised as cattle and they're genetically modified to age up faster. They're genetically modified to have their life
Like
cycles
through vaccines
expedited.
and through food and stuff. Yeah.
But Rena brings up a really interesting point.
I was about to
wor-
ask this.
This world has only existed for 10 years. Where the fuck did this 18-year-old, if we're being generous,
You're
That's what I was
thinking-
trying to
you're-
say.
We're thinking too
Listen,
hard.
You're thinking too
We're
hard.
thinking about it. We're thinking about it
Because
more
here's
than
it, I'm
the
not
author
even
did.
sure. I'm not even sure if it's 10 years. I'm pretty sure it's less than that. I'm like 99% sure it's less than that.
That makes it
No,
worse.
It's been a bit more. It's been maybe 20 years or some shit.
No, it has to be
It-
less
it
because I
started-
remember. No, go on.
It started when he was like in his early 20s, and now his dad is like geriatric. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe
So he's like a
maybe
60-year-old
But he
guy?
himself,
something.
but he himself is not that old.
Yeah, no, he's like middle aged, maybe 40.
Yeah, so okay, so 20 years counts, but even that, I don't. It's not good because that still doesn't make any sense. Because if they only
Still
barely
not
started
good.
legalizing all this stuff, she still wouldn't fit the timeline. Either way, it's just ass.
And
This
it's, and
book
it's
is ass.
and it's not even just that. One of the things that I am struggling with wrapping my head around is, let's say it's 20 years, right? The idea of a purebred animal doesn't make any sense because the amount of meat that must be consumed, if the world's unless there's a comment about the world's population decreasing exponentially, yes, migrants, homeless people, but
You're doing this weird thing called critical thinking.
ah,
Don't
This
do
book
that
is
with
ignoring
any
all
we,
that.
this
we
book.
fall into that pitfall every time.
We're past it.
but
We're,
like this is. But if you're
we're
gonna do
post critical thinking.
if you're gonna do a book like this, you need to have shit rock solid. If you don't have the plot of your book
You would
rock
think.
solid,
There's a reason we're doing a stream on this.
I
book.
know,
Yeah.
I
And it's
know.
because it's
This is-
ass.
And
this
if
is
you
If
guys-
you don't get your ducks in a row, you get assholes like us talking
And
about your book.
guys, if
Yeah.
you guys like this stream, if you guys like this kind of content, please comment, subscribe, like on the stream, donate if you have the ability to, so I can scream at books more, so my friends can share us with books more. Because this is Cloudy's
I
little
will
brainchild.
I will be providing most of the books. However, I'll make something somewhere where like you want to recommend more. Again, I mostly read like splatterpunk, and like I have also started dipping into like really bad romances, like that one that Amanda the Jedi read about the COVID-19 virus coming to life and having sex with the scientist. That shit's funny
Oh
as hell.
shit!
I like,
Oh,
I
shit.
like
I
reading
want that
shit
book
like
so
that because
bad.
that shit's funny.
I want someone, and I will even do it, to review a Chuck Tingle book.
Who the fuck is Chuck Tingle?
How do you
That
not
is-
know who Chunk Tingle
Oh,
is?
I'll tell you after stream. Chuck Tingle's great.
How do you not
so-
know this?
But I read books that are already ridiculous. But when I'm reading a book that's taking itself a bit more seriously, like the author obviously wants me to like take this. Obviously, it's like suspend my belief, but like take this and like really sit and chew on it, you know. But it's bad. It's bad,
No,
and it
the-
sucks. And I have to feel bad for a man who is R-wording this cattle girl he has in his house, impregnates her, and then the whole time while all this is happening, him and his wife are not speaking to each other because they're sad about their own baby dying, right? So I'm like, at what point is he gonna tell her? And that does happen, and I'll get to that because that is towards the end. The only other things that happen in the middle are several things. Because I know we've been yapping about this, and I for a bit. The cult thing happens. I'm glad you brought that up because again, it happened so suddenly, and then it's gone very
You
suddenly.
want to know the worst part about that
another
cult
thing
thing?
too. Yeah.
That was the most interesting line of that entire book so far. Everything about the cult, all the stuff that was happening in the background, what
Yeah.
Kat read was so much more interesting.
And then it's just gone because it's just like, oh, a cult thinks that they're doing the best for humanity, and one of them got scared and they got ripped apart. They're done. That's it. There's a bit where he has to go to some rich people party, and he does take a bite of like some like human, like some sort of human finger dish because if he doesn't, it looks really bad on his company or something. But that's when it's revealed that what rich people have decided to do on top of eating whatever they want is that there's several things. So rich people are now hunting poor people, and if you can escape the rich people killing you, they'll pay off your debt. So that's a thing.
So that's just that is just a retread of the most dangerous game.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like
so that's a
literally
thing.
another book.
There's another bit about how like, oh, if you're in debt but you have a family member that you could sell off for meat, that'll help you.
But
there's
that's just
whole
another
bit of-
novel. That's
There's
just
another bit after his father does pass away in this book. His father gets cremated. The funeral, he's kind of it is a bit of a sad bit, but he's finally just like, oh, you know, maybe I can think about a different job. Maybe I can do this and that. So this kind of, at least for me, kind of comes out of nowhere. So I mentioned the zoo before, right? That he visits the zoo just to sit there and be sad while he looks at whatever animal is left alive in the zoo.
yeah, the animals that have gone rabid and are trying to fucking break out of the cage.
Yeah, but they're like chilling. They're just being animals in their cage, so it's whatever. So at this point, his dad is gone. But the reason why the zoo is special because when I was a kid, they would take us here and blah 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 blah. Okay, like whatever. At this point, I already hate this man so much. I don't give a fuck about his childhood memories.
I have
He takes
another
his dad's ashes. Oh, gone.
I have another question with the animals. I'm like, if we're so far ahead, if we're in like modern day type shit, you know, and this has been around for maybe the last 30 20 years where we've actually been doing this. Why can't we just selectively breed animals to not have this reception to this virus? I'm just saying. I've been thinking about it. I'm like, we literally did cloning with Dolly the sheep 30, 40 fucking years ago, and if we're so far ahead in this timeline or whatever, we just can't breed animals to just not have this. I know, I'm thinking way too into it. I'm sorry.
Well, the other thing
Yeah,
would
you
be
are asking something that I can't answer.
the other
I
thing
know.
would be
Okay,
why
Rocky,
didn't they
so
lobotomize?
Rocky, I'm talking about Tender is the Flesh. It's a book about there's just no animals at this point too, but that does get tapped into a tiny little bit later. I'll get into that last. Honestly, that'd be kind of sick. One human that should be cloned. So this book is about how a virus wiped out all of the animals. We can't eat them anymore, so we start eating each other, and it becomes a whole industrialized industry. Like we breed them, we butcher them, and our main character is someone who is an insufferable asshole who gets gifted a cattle lady woman who he impregnates. That is the book. So
One rape in the book.
Yeah. So we at the rich people party, he has to schmooze a little bit because he's still trying to sell skin and meat or whatever. And the whole time he's just like, maybe I don't have to do this anymore. Spoiler alert, he doesn't quit his job.
He didn't ever.
Why would he quit? Because now he has to be covered.
So his dad dies. His dad dies, gets the ashes. He's pissy about the funeral because his sister, he just hates his sister, frankly. I think that's when he finds out that his sister is keeping a head in her freezer and she's taking it apart bit by bit to eat it, which that's fucked. I'll say, even in this world, I think that's fucked because we don't do that to animals now. Like, what the? I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, that's.
But he's pissy at his sister for doing things that are really trendy to do within rich people, which is to have a fresh meat supply or whatever. Like, he hates his sister so much, even though he is the one basically like top salesman of this kind of shit, right?
Yeah, that's.
So he goes into the zoo with his dad's
now.
ashes, and because his dad used to take him to the zoo, he wants to spread the ashes around. But that's when I don't know why this part of the book is here. I really don't. He finds a litter of puppies. There's like 4 or 5 puppies that he finds. And he's like so happy. He's picking them up. He's like, oh, but if I'm caught, like, oh, I gotta leave them here. And the puppies are so cute and they're not being violent or anything. And then while he hides or while he's starting to exit the little area, because it's like the zoo's like completely broken down and stuff. There's a group of kids that comes in, sees the puppies, and basically tortures them to death.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Really?
There's no reason for this part of the book to exist. Because nothing happens after that. He doesn't tell the kids. He doesn't say anything. Like, nothing happens. He also doesn't try to help the pup. Like, nothing happens. It pisses me off so bad. And so the next bit of the book, he has to deal with some plant stuff that's going on.
What do you mean deal with plant stuff?
So a truck flipped over. They ate all of the head, and the scavengers also murdered the driver and ate him.
Yeah, like
I don't.
a truck full of head falls over, and it's like this big deal.
But then
at the end, they kind of let the scavengers take whatever, and then they're just like, okay, well, at least they kind of cleaned it up for us.
So is this like the society? Like, is this like there's a city, and the city is fine, but on the outskirts of the city, everyone's just fucking crazy?
No, it's just poor people. It's just whatever you picture a poor person to be.
Because if you are delivering food and there is the fear of scavengers coming to get you, at that point, these fuckers would have guns. That's what I'm like.
No, there was never a fear. The scavengers were just there to get free food.
Yeah.
They were just there to get free meat.
And yeah.
I'm so confused.
But this time, the scavengers killed the driver too.
Oh my god!
And they ate him.
But it was never brought up again. It was just like,
yeah.
So
all
dumb.
These things that we say, they sound really abrupt and out of place because that's how it reads. It just comes out of nowhere. You get this information, you're like, huh, okay, I wonder what they're gonna do with that, and then nothing happens.
That's perfect. That's Rena puts up a really perfect thing. Do the scavengers or anybody attack regular everyday citizens?
No, I'm guessing not because
Just
the
old
scavengers.
people?
Yeah, the scavengers are just like I guess whoever's too weak to
the
fight back. I
scavengers
guess,
eat
but
dead
they're
people.
never.
That's about it.
Yeah, they'll attack dead. They'll go after dead. Like the people who were like digging up or like eating dead people. It was
Bro,
them.
they would just be placed in jail, and they would all just be sentenced to be eaten. This
Yeah, because you have to remember, this is still like
this doesn't make any
modern day
sense.
society. At least there's still cops and stuff. Like
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
but yeah, the meat plant's like, oh, that's going to be this much loss of money and blah blah blah. But at least they're cleaning it up for us, ha ha ha. And then, okay, I think we should end towards the end of the book because I can't. If there's anything left in the middle, I can't remember. There was the rich
No,
people
this
party,
is
the
straight
cult.
up the like end. This
Okay,
is
so the end
ending
of the book. So we're gonna get to the end now, right? We're
Oh,
gonna
fuck
we will
me.
free everyone from their shackles today.
This is the twist? We're getting to the twist?
Are we
Yeah.
into the twist? So she's pregnant by this point. He impregnated
She's
her.
very pregnant. She's about to pop, and so it gets to the point where like she's having contractions. Hold on, I'm trying to see if I can actually find the actual.
So chat, for those who are joining us and for those who are just here, just for
I'm just here at this
just
point.
just in time. This book is insane. This book is wild. And I'm very confuzzled is a word I would use, but it's one of those things where we keep discussing and talking about a very futuristic society where eating humans is normal. Let's just say it's 20 years. But for some reason, law and order is only if you use them as slaves, or obviously if you commit bestiality. But killing each other and then eating each other, totally fine. We're not really going to pursue you. We're not going to cull that in the 20 years that we exist. Like
So discriminating people for their skin color based on their leather quality, that's fine. Slavery, well, let's not push things a little bit too far here.
yeah, that's like I understand.
Come on, like
I
lean
understand.
into it at that point.
Yeah, it acts perfectly. The scavengers existing does not make sense. Ranchers and farmers don't just throw diseased or bad meat from
It's not
animals to
seen
random.
the author's never been anywhere near a farm.
Yeah.
I don't. If they say so, I don't fucking believe it. I don't believe it. Like, there's no way they could convince me.
I
With the
have
way
to
this written,
Yeah.
that this
No way.
person is like some kind of like vegan / communist.
They are vegan.
'cause-
Right. Yeah,
not a communist again.
I think what it is that part of the bias that's in there. And listen, it is fine to dislike the way that animals are treated in certain factory settings. That's completely understandable and fine. But the book doesn't really address a lot of the greater societal issues that come from this that are inside the book's own logic. And that's something you see with very sophomoric writing, in my opinion, where the concept of the book is very interesting, but the writer doesn't have the chops because the only thing they really fleshed out was their main belief and message behind the book, and not so much the logistics around it. And they didn't have an editor who really discussed those things with them to really do a lot more research. Because one of the issues I'm having with this book is that it feels poorly researched in the conceptualization of laws in a dystopian society. Like that's my biggest hang-up of a novelization like this. And it's super cool to write about these things, and this book can be done very well, but this book is not being done very well.
So
in my opinion.
I think we got most of the middle parts. Yeah, I can talk about how like they describe like, oh, the ripping, like they separate the flesh and this and this and that. That's not really that interesting. It's quite literally just any sort of. I think that was the part that she tried to make not interesting because it's just very much textbook like how you would butcher any animal. But like all the stuff in between is he's a fucking asshole about everything. He hates his life. He doesn't do anything good. He impregnates this cattle girl. And I think, Kat, unless you have anything else to say, I was just going to send the last chapter into our chat and we could take turns reading the last couple pages and then we can see how we feel after that.
So, literally the page before the last chapter, it's just the boss and this guy talking about how to kill off the scavengers. And he's like, in a few weeks, I will just poison bodies and throw them over the fence. And that's it. He's like, the boss is like, it'll kill off about 100 of them. The rest will get a message and they'll get the fuck out of my way. And
Oh
that's
yeah, I
it.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Then just as dry as that was, hold open. He gets home and goes to Jasmine's room.
Oh
has a
yeah,
look
I'm
to the
sending
frozen
I'm sending
ones.
that. Yeah. I'm sitting here right now. It's just taking a minute. Yeah. So the last chapter is
Booty
the
cheeks, straight ass.
It's straight ass. And that
the last
booty.
chapter. My wonderful audience is just why is it sending?
Yeah, that's moist. That's a really good thing to say. You can tell that the author did zero research into actual famines. Yeah, it's just like there's really like this weird lack of awareness or lack of research that makes the book feel hollow. It's being lauded for its political message and its societal message, but it's not really being critiqued for the issues that it's not addressing.
3, 4, 5, 6,
And
7,
that
8, 9.
is
All right,
wild.
The last chapter is 9 pages.
All right. Why the fuck is it only 9 pages?
I mean, that's not. Sometimes they're one page just as a finale. That's not gonna. It's whatever.
Yeah.
There's bigger fish to fry in this
All
book.
right.
than
All right.
Let's say.
So
a
does it
9-page
okay, if I
chapter.
have to ask the question, it starts, I assume, from the corner
19.
Okay, this one.
The top, yeah, it should have set in order. Sometimes Discord does mess it up.
Hold up. Come on,
I do want to
Discord.
say too. I feel like we've thought more about like the plot holes or like the plotting of it than the author did, or maybe the
I
author.
want to
did.
know
100%.
this book is only like an hour and 45 minutes long.
Okay.
Like I saw the first page and it was like hour and 40 minutes left. in
Well,
this
it's
book.
because I'm not trying to flex too hard. It's just my Kindle's adjusted to me. I read very
Oh,
quickly.
okay, all right.
Not to sorry, not
Not
to
the
flex too hard.
not the flex, but the cloudy.
So
cloudy
this
reads
book
better.
has, I mean, it's not even a long book anyway. It's 214 pages. I've read it in like an hour and a half on the plane because I was so mad. I
Fucking
was so angry. at
fucking
this book.
spite reading.
But I had to. I paid $22 for this shit ass book. I had to finish it.
Oh my god. All right.
I can start us off.
Go for it.
He gets home and goes straight to Jasmine's room. He hasn't looked at his phone once to see if she's okay. It's the first time since he installed the cameras that he's forgotten to check on her.
Well, that's great.
When he opens the door, he sees Jasmine is lying down and looks to be in pain. She's touching her belly, and her nightgown is stained. He runs up to her and sees that the mattress is soaked with a brownish green fluid. No, he yells. He knows because of all fucking shit my stutter. Because of all he's read, that if the amniotic fluid is green or brown, there's a problem with the baby.
Oh,
He doesn't know what to do other than pick up Jasmine and take her to his bed so she's more comfortable.
oh,
Then
how
he grabs
considerate.
his phone and calls
Right.
Cecilia. I
So
need
real
you to
quick-
come over.
So just real quick, I know I mentioned this already, but the
Oh,
whole
Axe
book.
is just
him and-
$10.
bro.
Hold up.
That was
Hey,
very,
thanks,
very
Axis.
nice.
The whole time with this book,
Hey.
Hold up.
in this book. What are we
We
all
gotta
doing?
we gotta get the chat in.
The what?
Because there's a
Oh,
chat
oh.
from
It's a
Axis.
slower super chat.
Yeah, that's a really
I'm glad I never lose my train of thought or anything. That's so
that's
cool.
really like an interesting thing. No, well, but Axis is saying that unless like the humans are really being like majorly genetically modified and changed in a specific way, one of the main issues is that it's just you're gonna have the problem of the humans just don't have enough meat. That's just straight up. They just don't have enough meat. But it's okay. Continue.
As I was saying, just throughout this whole book, him and his wife barely don't talk to each other except for
Mhm.
like one time before the labor happens, and it's just because they're pretty much on the edge of divorcing because they lost their baby, which that probably is the most normal human part of this book, is that is something that happens because that's a horrible thing to go through.
Mhm.
However, that does not give you a pass to try to do this. Go ahead, Kat.
Marcos, get in your mom's car and drive here. But Marcos, what's going on? Just come over now, Cecilia. I need you here now. But I don't understand. You sound different. I don't recognize you. I can't explain over the phone.
Shut up.
Just know that I need you.
No,
Come
just
over.
shut up.
All right. So it should also be noted that Marcos's separated / ex-wife is a nurse. That is,
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
and that's why he's calling her.
Oh, that's
over.
why he's calling. Okay,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he's
And also, again, he's not allowed to have this R-word baby with cattle.
yes, he's
That is not. That's the very. He will be turned into meat if he's found out. So that's the conflict of the book. Okay, that's the book. Anyway, sorry.
All right, so
He knows that she'll be a while. Oh, what's up?
oh no, you're fine.
He knows she'll be a while. Her mother's house isn't in the city, but it's not close either. When he hangs up, he runs to the kitchen, grabs some dish towels, and wets them. He puts the cold cloth to Jasmine's forehead. Then he tries to give her an ultrasound, but he doesn't detect a problem. He touches her belly and says, "Everything's gonna be just fine, little one. Just fine. Your birth's gonna go well. Everything's gonna be just fine."
What
gives
the
Jasmine
this,
some water. Over and
Calling
over,
her
he
little
says
one is
these
crazy.
words. He
What?
can't stop, though. He knows his child might die.
I hate
He can't bring
this.
himself to get up and take care of the things that need to be done for labor, like boil water. Instead, he doesn't move and clings to Jasmine, who's becoming paler
Okay.
by the minute.
Okay, Rena, you thought the same thing I thought. Why the fuck does this motherfucker have an ultrasound? How the fuck did he sneak that and nobody thinks anything? Like you just have a fucking
Ultrasound.
He has an ultrasound machine in his home. He's checking the baby's health. He's seeing that the baby is moving. It says in the novel that he detects a problem. He touches her belly.
So when giving birth, if the fluid, when the water breaks and the fluid's not clear,
yes.
if it's brown or green, as he said, that means there's a problem. So that's how he knows there's a problem with the baby. So he's trying to
yes.
feel and see if the baby's moving.
Yes, but he said that he used an ultrasound machine, thus meaning that he has an ultrasound machine in his home.
Am I gaslighting myself? Where does it say?
Let me go to the.
He puts the cold cloth to Jasmine's forehead.
Mhm.
Then he tries to give her an ultrasound,
Oh,
but he doesn't detect a problem.
So
is that a weird translation?
Either it's a weird.
I think my brain is literally just not registering words anymore because I'm not kidding, chat. I'm like.
Either
oh
that's a weird translation.
This just sounds like she doesn't understand how human birth goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And that's fine. It's fine.
She didn't
but
even research pregnancy.
Maybe take a look at the Wikipedia real quick before you write about it. I don't know. That's me. That's how I feel.
Wikipedia. You can just watch a video on pregnancies. You could even watch video like you can watch.
Why do you know that?
Because I had to watch a video on a live pregnancy once.
For work?
For class. Yeah, we had like
I did that one too.
Yeah, I've had to watch surgical procedures.
They got to know a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Like I've watched surgical procedures too. I've watched like multiple things be removed. Does this woman have children? This specific person does not have children because they're cattle. They're not even supposed to have them.
They're a cow person. She was gifted to him as a gift. Yeah.
Or are you referring to Moist? Are you referring to the author?
Are you referring to the author?
Oh my god,
author, I don't know.
That is fucking funny. If not, that's such a funny thing that you're asking. Yeah, no, it just doesn't. It sounds like it doesn't make like there's so much that's going. No, the author. Yeah, no, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Let me Google
and
it.
frankly,
I don't give a damn.
You know what? I think there is a part in the book. Again, I could look, but I'm just pissed off now. Like I said, you see this in real time on my brain's trying to protect me from this book.
Yeah.
Like there is a bit where he does collect supplies so he can keep an eye on the pregnancy.
But again, an ultrasound.
I'm pretty sure
machine.
the only reason why I could remember that part is because he complains about having to do stuff for her. Mind you, she has to be like taught how to use the toilet and stuff.
But a fucking ultrasound machine, the amount of power that it would take to use that, the type of exactly an entire fucking machine. Because like, listen, the machines aren't that big. An ultrasound machine,
they have portable ones.
They have portable ones.
But it's also just weird. Like,
yeah,
it's not something you could just.
But
buy,
you're also going, but you're also going to a medical supply store.
Yeah,
that sells.
If everything's like, if everything's like A-logged, what everybody does type of thing. Yeah. But they do have portable ones. We use the portable ones in my
right. Because that was the other thing too, right? He's not supposed to have this cattle. That was something that really confused me when you mentioned it.
So Rena, the amount of connections this guy. So he is well-to-do. He's like top salesman, top guy, knows lots of people. I did just randomly remember one of the parts of the book. Basically, there's a part where they're bred for the human cattle are bred for science experiments, and he hates seeing her because she's a bitch and like he gets to watch all these cow people be tortured. But all the marvels of science and successes in the way I can just torture these cow people, I can do whatever I want to them, kind of stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I think he might get a few things from her, or it happens around the time he goes to see her. That is something that happens in the book, is that like some cattle people are bred to be tortured. I forgot about that. That happens before the.
But then that
cow
doesn't
tips
make any
over.
sense.
And then again, then nothing comes of it. Nothing happens. You are just
Wait,
taught.
Cloudy,
you were
you're
just told
breaking.
information.
Cloudy, you're apparently breaking up. You're
No.
being
Don't see
you're being
No.
digitized. Is that
anything
on
about
my
her having a
side?
family.
Guys, are we
So
coming
I don't
in?
think so.
Oh no. Oh wait.
Hello.
No, it's wait, good, not just me.
Hello.
Let me see. Is there any other issues with the stream? Can you guys
don't hear
hear
anything.
us?
I think it's the author trying to silence me.
Is the author trying to silence us? Oh no, I think Cat is too. Oh no, Cat and Cloudy are off. It might be.
Is it Discord?
Is it because on my side Discord is fine. I think it's Falgi. Okay.
Oh, of course it's Falgi.
What do you mean? What do you
Is
mean?
it-
I
is
don't
it
have
off
robot
in the
It
voice.
would be him.
sense-
I don't
God
have
has had
In the
enough.
sense that our like little image isn't moving.
God. No. They're saying there's something wrong with the audio. Let me try to figure out what's going on. Give me a second, guys.
Yeah,
Stream.
it seems fixed now.
Yeah, the stream health was fine the entire time. So I don't.
So
Sometimes it
that
might just,
sounds
it could
like
just be.
It's Falgi's fault.
was lagging.
Feels good. Cat sounds great. Yeah, it might have just been
Well,
the.
it's the author trying to silence
Yeah, it
me.
might
She
have
can't handle
just.
this heat.
Yeah, it might have just been a YouTube momentary blip.
Weird hiccup.
Blip.
Yeah.
Yeah, because.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
happens
weird
with you.
hiccup.
That happens with YouTube specifically. I noticed.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was in my rant, but basically, just like there's an evil scientist
Her book
lady.
is ass.
Yeah, this book
Yeah.
is ass.
So
There's
what?
an evil scientist lady that you learn about because there's people being tortured and experimented on, because now that we have cattle, we don't have to worry about human ethics of human experimentation anymore. And he's like, oh, I hate this bitch in his mind because he doesn't want to tell her off. But like, he is trusted to handle super high priority clients. So he does have a lot of
Mhm.
pull in different areas. That's supposed to be something he feels really guilty about, even though he knocked up this cow lady. So, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, one of the things that like kind of confuses me about this novel is, again, if you're saying that there are humans, if there are a class of humans that are allowed to be treated as human experimentation, then like what the fuck is happening? Like, then half the laws that they care about don't even matter. Half the decency laws.
But they do matter because they're not happening to people in their
They're
minds. They're
happening to
happening to the cattle.
Cattle people. you know.
Yeah, I guess, but it's just like, yeah,
They-
but
they-
remember,
as
like-
Axel said, they're not slaves.
yeah, but remember,
Yeah,
they're not slaves. But you could just create an entire class of people specifically to just be genetically tested on, and only
what
that.
Yeah.
What this pretty much looks like, I feel like the author is just like, what if the world is as it is, but instead of animals
Mhm.
in all the animal roles, it's a type of people, and like and it's literally that.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what did that? Animal Farm.
It's
Animal
like
Farm
that in
did
cringe.
that. It's like that in Cringe. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is Animal Farm, but cringe and bad. And I don't. And this is coming from
Wait,
someone
what do
who.
you mean? Animal Farm is just straight up animals.
Yes, but what
You're right. It's just a children's book
Yes.
about animals. What do you mean?
Oh my God, you are all. I hate all of you. I don't know what's going on.
All right, let's get through some more of these pages.
wait,
We're
wait, hold-
literally so close to the end.
Please press play.
Oh God, press play. Fuck
That's
off.
when he hears the car engine and runs outside. He hugs Cecilia. She steps back and looks at him with surprise. He puts his hands on her arm, but before he takes her inside, he says, I need you to have an open mind. I need you to set aside whatever you might feel up and be professional, nurse. I know. I don't know what you're talking about, Marcos. Come and I'll show you. Please help me. When they enter the room, Cecilia sees a woman lying on the bed, pregnant. Cecilia looks at him with sadness in her eyes and a bit of surprise and confusion. But then she moves closer and sees the mark on the woman's forehead. Why is there a female in my bed? Why didn't you call a specialist? The baby is mine. She looks
Oh.
at him with disgust.
Yeah.
Then she takes a few steps back, crouches down, and puts her head between her hands as though she were about to faint. Are you crazy? Do you want to end up in the municipal slaughterhouse? How could you have been with a female? You're sick. He goes to her, slowly lifts her to her feet and hugs her. Then he says, the amniotic fluid is green, Cecilia. The baby's going to die. As though his words were magical, she begins to move and tells him to start boiling water, to bring clean towels, alcohol, more pillows. He runs through the house looking for these, while she examines Jasmine and tries to calm her down. The labor lasts several hours. Jasmine pushes instinctively, but Cecilia can't make herself understood. He tries to help, but feels Jasmine's fear and paralyzes him. All he can do is say, it's gonna be fine, everything's gonna be just fine, until Cecilia shouts that she can see a foot. He panics. Cecilia tells him to leave. She says he's making both her and Jasmine nervous, and that the birth could be more complicated. She tells him to wait outside.
Oh
Alright, just real
God.
quick.
behind the
Just real
door.
quick.
Just real
The
quick.
fact that she understands so little about communication, being a person, speech, that she can't understand what the nurse wife lady is trying to tell her to do. He's disgusting. I want this man to explode.
Yeah,
Or
this is
likely does not know what's happening to her.
yeah.
Literally.
This is a question that I have. Does he teach her enough human language?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I think I think we're seeing it
Well,
as it is.
We're
Well,
seeing
no,
it
no,
as it is.
Well,
Yeah.
no. I'm just asking what he did to quote unquote attempt to
basically-
humanize her.
He taught her, he potty trained her, taught her how to put a dress on, and showed her how to use crayons so she wouldn't be bored while he's at work.
Bro.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, please continue.
Waits behind the door to the room, his ear pressed against the wood. There are no shouts, just Cecilia's voice saying, come on, honey, push, push. That's it, come on. You can do this, harder. It's on the way, come on. Love, that's it. That's it. As though Jasmine could understand her. Then there's complete silence. The minutes pass, and he hears Cecilia yell, no, come on, little one, turn around, come on. Honey, push. Come on, it's almost there, please. God, help me. You are not going to die on me. No fucking way. Not while I'm here. Come on, love. That's it. You can do this. For a few minutes, he doesn't hear anything, and then he hears a cry and goes in. His child is in Cecilia's arms. She's covered in sweat, her hair a mess, but she's smiling, and it lights up her face. It's a boy. He goes up to her and takes the baby in his arms, rocks him, kisses him. The baby cries. Cecilia says that the umbilical cords need to be cut, and that the baby cleaned and wrapped up. She says this between tears. She's emotional, happy.
Okay, just a
Once
pause.
she's
Just a
taking-
pause for a second. If we can pause. So part of what is in this book, and you can kind of see the shift. And this is something that this is the only part of the book I actually fucking know. So they lost their baby. They lost their son Leo, and that's why they're
Yeah.
separated. And
Yeah.
now what you are seeing is that Cecilia is going from I am disgusted with you, Marcos. I can't believe you did this to oh, it's a baby. I like this baby.
This changes everything.
This changes
Yeah.
everything. Which is
Oh,
like
it's gonna get worse. We ain't there yet.
it's gonna get worse, but I'm already sitting here being like, oh, I know where this is gonna go. But like, why would you shit on him so much for this? And now
Because-
you're doing the
oh.
same thing.
Knocked my fucking microphone out. Because society says it's disgusting and how could you and blah 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 blah. But this is how people really feel. That's all this is.
Yes, you too want to have your animal baby to just hug and hold because baby, cool anime girls.
Yeah.
That's right. Call of baby. The
Call of
baby
baby.
calls you. You're at once.
Go on.
She's taking care of these things. Cecilia hands back the baby, who's now calmed down. He looks at his son in disbelief. He's beautiful, he says. He's just beautiful. He feels the shard of stone shrink, lose their hold. Jasmine is in the bed, and she stretches out her arms. They ignore her. But she opens her mouth and moves her hands. She tries to get up, and then she does, and bumps into the night table with her hips, and knocks the lamp over. They look at her silently. Go get some more towels and water to clean her before you take her out to the barn, Cecilia tells him. He gets up and gives her son to Cecilia, who begins to rock and sing to him. He's ours now, he tells her, and she looks at him, unable to respond.
This is just
All Cecilia can
wild.
do is look at the baby and cry silently. She cuddles him and says, "What a beautiful baby. You're the most adorable baby boy. What are we going to call you?" He goes to the kitchen and returns with something in his right hand. Jasmine is only able to stretch out her arms desperately towards her son. She tries to get up again, but is cut by the pieces of glass on the floor from the broken lamp. He sits down behind Jasmine. She looks back at him in despair. First, he puts his arms around her and kisses the mark on the forehead. He tries to calm her down, then he gets onto his knees on the floor and says, "Easy does it. Everything's gonna be just fine. Take it easy." With a wet rag, he wipes the sweat from her forehead. He sings "Summertime" into her ear. When she calms down a little, he stands up and grabs her by the hair. Jasmine, now only able to move her hands, is trying to reach her son. She wants to speak, to scream, but there are no sounds. He picks up the club he brought from the kitchen and hits her on the forehead, right where she's been branded. Jasmine falls on the floor, stunned, unconscious. Cecilia
Jesus.
jumps when she hears the thud, looks at him. Without understanding why, she yells, "She could have given us more children." As he drags the body of the female to the barn to slaughter, he says to Cecilia, his voice radiant, so pure it wounds, "She had the human look of a domesticated animal."
Jesus
And I had to sit on a
Christ.
plane and pretend I wasn't the most
What?
pissed off I'd ever been
What
at
the
a piece of
fuck?
book in my whole life.
Jesus
Great
Christ.
dookie farts of an ending.
What a fucking strange.
Fucking
yeah.
ass.
Because it, like,
Yeah, I just spent all this
Oh,
time
this
humanizing
sucks.
you.
This
that
sucks.
But
sucks. Jesus
actually-
Christ.
I hate everything. I'm literally going to kill myself.
I
In
thought it was good.
Minecraft.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I
God
thought
damn
it
it,
was
Greg!
great.
Greg!
Okay, Greg, how do you feel about that? With
I
everything we
feel-
told you and then the last chapter, how do you feel about this book?
I'm waiting for the movie adaptation. You know, I think they're
Shut
gonna
up.
get. I think
You
they're
shut
gonna
your
get it right.
goddamn mouth right now.
Greg! Greg, no!
Right up dookie fart
Greg,
diarrhea.
in a movie adaptation, who would you have play the main character?
The main character, the
Mhm.
greatest actor of all time, obviously, The Rock.
Oh God.
Oh my
That's so funny.
god. Oh my
Cool Anime
god.
Girls, I wish I could give you more context. There is none. Everything we've said comes and goes as we say it. And the ending is just that. You spend this whole book of him being like, "Oh, I hate my job. I hate my life. I hate this. I
Right.
hate that. I don't even eat the meat." To him just being like, "I'm about to slaughter this thing that gave me a child."
But it's not even just
And then the wife be going from like, "I'm disgusted" to, "Oh,
Mhm.
why didn't you keep her around so we could make more?"
what
I
what
just
Fuck you.
and-
Fuck the wife. Fuck the author. Fuck this book.
what
I
bothers
just wanted
Well,
I
the
wanted
world is
Pedro
so
Pascal
poorly
to make everyone mad.
Mm-mm. What bothers me about
The
this
world is
ending?
poorly written.
Yes, the book is very
It's
poorly
ass,
written.
It's shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, this is the ending. This is not the middle. So what bothers me about this ending
No, that's the end. That's literally how it ends.
is essentially, now that I know that this lady is like a TikTok vegan and the blah 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 whatever, you're also like casting complete shit on your movement, saying vegans are will easily have their minds changed when the time is nigh. Did nobody think about that? Does nobody read that context that you are
I
describing?
cannot find anything on her about her being on TikTok.
We're gonna
And I
make
know she's like a college professor, but that's about it.
yeah,
we're
well,
gonna make the vegans cannibals to own the meat eaters.
yeah, like this is like
No, it
a
wasn't the
vegan
it
teacher
wasn't
did
the
make the
vegan
book.
teacher. No, she didn't.
A vegan teacher though, not the.
Yeah, she's
Also, the
she's
vegan
just
stuff
some-
doesn't really pop up that much. It's just really focusing on like how this is how we treat cattle. Therefore, imagine if that's what we did in real life.
Right.
However, this is fucked. And again, too, we don't keep animals alive while we eat parts of them. Anyone who does do that would be considered a fucking freak. Like,
It doesn't really say much about her upbringing or like what is she doing. I don't see anything about her being a professor either. It just says short stories. Or being
I bet those suck too.
yeah.
Such a tiny screen.
Well, yeah.
and then
I
as we
made
just said, it
I
could
made
also just
tiny
been a
on
joke that
purpose.
she was like a
So tiny.
uber vegan or something.
I made
But
it
it's
tiny
just,
on purpose.
but it's just yeah. So that's Tender is the Flesh, and
So
and I hate it.
So there's
how-
some
so
there's
how
some
y'all feel?
things I want to talk about real quick before we go into how we feel, because we should look at how people felt about this novel.
No.
Oh, I'm not reading any damn reviews. It's gonna piss me off more.
Everyone's opinion here is
Okay.
what I care about.
Tender is the Flesh was a winner of the Argentinian Premio Claran de Novela Prize,
Not a high
You want
bar.
me to read it?
and was I am going to read it. It's for the
Let
audience.
him
Mean the
practice.
Spanish
Let him,
words.
let him
If
practice.
if
yeah.
Falgi doesn't
Pre-
read it, he's
premio.
I'm gonna hear about it later.
Mhm. And was praised by several critics. The New York Times book reviews Daniel Krauss described the novel as powerful in displaying the monstrosities and desires of the hierarchical structure of capitalism. Strauss also identified that replacing pigs with humans alters the view within the novel of industrialized farming. Justin Jordan of The Guardian saw the landscape of the novel as similar to Argentine author Samuel Schweiblin's novel Fever Dream. Jordan described Tender as the Flesh as a vampiric, provocative, and sorrowful. Headstuff's David Tannery
Okay.
highlighted the use of dark humor. What humor?
What
But
What humor?
nothing in this book is funny.
See-
Nothing in this book is fucking funny. There's no funny moment. There's nothing. This book isn't comical at all.
Like,
There's no teehees in this book.
yeah, where's the teehees? Where the tahas?
If you notice, all of these reviews are just basically, yes, she is very educated, like me.
Yes.
Therefore good."
Yes. Well, yeah, that's a large.
Trust me, chat. Trust me. If there was a funny part in this book, I would appreciate it. And I would have said it. I would have pointed it out.
That's the
Because
thing
a
too.
single
And as
comedic
painfully
line.
as painfully cute, yeah, this book went viral. I had this book on my list because it was recommended to me over and over and over, and I read it and I was just mad. So there's a lot of books that get recommended on
I hate
on
all these
TikTok.
reviewers. I hate all
Yeah,
of them.
I
this
get
is
recommended
this
on
is
TikTok that
all heady
I've
shit.
found my favorites through here. I found some of my like really cool authors. Like I'll go through books I actually like too. Like I'm not gonna just go through slop, but like
Yeah.
I this is something that I even now because you get book talk stuff still, and it's just like, oh, this book made me feel a type of way, and da da da. I'm like, well, if it did, you're dumb.
there's this
In
weird
Minecraft,
thing.
in Minecraft.
It's
Again, if you
dumb
pick
in
this up and you like it, and
Mhm.
and it impacts you in a different way, that is what art is. Art is subjective. You could pick this up, have a totally different feeling about it, and I'd actually like to know about it because I don't see what people like about this book because all this book did was piss me off. I feel like this book
Right.
was made to piss me off. That's how I feel about it.
I think
Which might have been the intent, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It might
and
have-
honestly,
it
even
might have
that,
hopefully,
even with
like,
that,
the-
that is
the intention.
that
Mhm.
is still reacting to art. And I feel like even as an artist too, even though I don't write anything, any reaction to my art is good. So congrats for pissing me off. for
Oh,
fucking a whole
apparently
flight.
it's being a moist. Did you just say that Tender is the Flesh is being adapted into a television show?
I refuse to believe that.
Tender
Yeah,
I
is
refuse
starring
to
The Rock.
believe
What do you
that.
mean?
Starring The Rock. Yeah, what do you mean?
Hold up. TV show.
The Rock and Pedro Pascal.
Tender is.
Here's the thing. I think actually as a TV show, it could probably get away with a lot more. Because one, you don't have to hear this man's infernal shitty thoughts.
Well, they
In
turned,
the writer's room, they could flesh out the world more.
they turned. Well, no, never mind. I was gonna say they turned Snowpiercer into a TV show, but
Yeah.
because they have similar subject matters, kinda. But I feel like Snowpiercer did their world building better.
Oh yeah.
It was
So-
better as a
Obviously better.
movie. It was better as a
So
movie.
so according to Scenic Rights, which is like it does actually do like TV rights and things from what I remember. It is potentially already being developed.
And here's the thing, again, as I said, when you have other writers and other people who can flesh things out, I think that's way better. Because again, we're stuck
Yeah.
in this guy's head, and I hate him.
Well, I
I
think
don't like the main character,
Right.
so I think it could probably work better when. Because here's the thing, this could have been really cool. You just need to add things like this ain't happening within 10, 20 years. This is not happening. I don't. I'm just gonna repeat myself, but like I don't care about a dude who feels so conflicted and he chain smokes 3 cigarettes at a time, just for him to turn around and do all this shit at the end.
fucking
Only if it's on CW. bro.
CW, yeah, apparently on Simon and Schuster, where this, I believe this is like published. yeah, I guess it is potentially getting a TV adaptation. It's currently
If
being
it's in
adapted.
production, if it's in
Mhm.
production, it could still stay in production forever. This happens all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
if
true.
there's like a deal's
It
on
can
the
Yeah.
table, it
stay in
doesn't.
production. It can stay there
Production
I
happens.
forever.
think, but
Forever.
I think that reading some of how people, the reception of critics, is a really good indicator of something that I always notice, especially with a lot of indie movies, in certain regards, uh, and in a lot of movies that are Oscar bait, quote unquote. A lot of these heady movies that don't really speak to the audience and don't really provide a lot of like, a lot of enjoyment for an audience to read. The idea that when you see a bunch of, highfalutin reviewers say these great things about the novel, it's like, oh, am I stupid? Am I missing something? No. That's the whole point of art being subjective, is sometimes a quote unquote good book is not very good as a reading experience. This book does not seem good as a reading experience. Unironically, probably would be much better as a television show.
Yeah, again, I think it'd actually be better because again, you're not stuck in this asshole's head,
Mhm.
and other
also the
writers can be
fact-
like, "Hey, you can flesh out this and that more." Yeah, go on, sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah, other writers will be brought in. I don't have to listen to Augustina standing on her soapbox telling me meat bad, um, powerful woman abandons all morals. 'Cause what the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They can also probably add suspense and flesh out the world
Mhm.
and characters. Because God knows this fucking book didn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Full anime girls. I also take reviews with a grain of salt. Yeah, and as you should. Even
Yeah.
this, even what we're saying now. Again, this is my opinion. This is all of our opinions. I
Just-
did not
yeah,
like this book.
Just 5
Clearly,
opinions.
clearly, there's tons of other people who don't feel the same way, and that's
3 of us
fine.
haven't even read it, so
Yeah.
don't even listen to us, even if we are right.
Yeah.
It's a genuine. So I mentioned earlier that there's another book that I read right before this. So it's Joseph Delancey's book called Meat. I put it in the chat if you want to just show the
I will.
front.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah. So this book, in my opinion, I read this right before Tender's Flesh. It did what this book wanted to do so much better. So much better. So let me see. Let me just pull up the.
I gotta figure out. Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna have to do that one of these days.
So yeah, you just pull up the.
I did. I made the book a little bit bigger, but here's
okay,
meat.
cool. So this is the book I read right before Tender is the Flesh. So Falgi included. Some of you mentioned like, are they in a dystopia? Are they this and that? That's what this book is. This book starts in a place where people have been eating humans as meat for a long time because the world is ravaged by some sort of weird storm, and that slowly encloses in on their little town
Like
bit by
Fortnite.
bit.
Like
Yeah, a little bit.
Fortnite!
A little bit, yeah.
Like a battle
And so-
royale.
But the way it's done, it's through generations. Like you don't really know how it started. You only know where it is now. And because eating meat in their society, it's not just something that they do. It is something that they've integrated into their religion. So you are blasphemous if you don't eat meat. You are completely exiled. You are punished if you don't eat meat. And the person you follow is someone who actually tortures himself because he has to work on a meat plant in order to provide for his kids. Like, so he does, like, right off the bat in the beginning of the book, he does things like he over exercises to punish himself. He won't give himself certain things because he works at the meat plant in this universe. He's given lots of meat that he just doesn't take home because he just feels so bad about what he has to do. And so the way that the humans are processed here is that they're seen as divine beings. They're seen as God's gift to the rest of us. That this is their sacrifice to us. So we have to treat them with respect and do this and this and that. They're still horribly slaughtered and all this other bad shit happens in this book. But it is done so much better. So to go from this book to Tender is the Flesh, it just made me even more mad. So I think one day I probably will talk about Meat, but I'll have to reread it again because I want to do that book justice. And Meat is probably one of my favorite books I've read in this past year. It is fantastic. And again, it's very every trigger warning you can think of if you pick it up on your own. By the way, just letting you know that now. But yeah, it has a lot of like insane cult like religious stuff, the cannibalism, the actual horror of this book of this guy sort of finding out that there's a new way to live without meat, and those people are seen as other, and just like and also the way that Tenders of Flesh they're still very human as cattle and Tenders the Flesh. For meat, would I be willing to do a book club on? Honestly, yeah. I guess I just have to. I've never done a book club before. I'll have to figure out how that works. But the way that happens in meat, and I guess it's a little bit of a spoiler. Sorry, but like it's not a huge one. I feel like this book is also like really old. So when the cattle and meat are hit a certain age, they are horribly disfigured.
Yeah.
They are horribly disfigured. They're basically given the cybersmith treatment. Their vocal cords are removed. They their fingers down to like their first knuckle are taken off. Their Achilles tendon is cut. It's disgusting. It's brutal. It is, and these cattle people learned how to talk to each other with a series of the way they tap on their wall, because that is the only way they've ever learned. They can't talk. They can't do anything. They're like weird and hairless because they're slathered in this shit. Like they're grotesque beings that are seen as divine because of some person generations above. And it's just it does what Tenders the Flesh wanted to do but fails at. Like I love meat. I'm not kidding. It's one of my favorite books that I've read in this past year. As I said, I love that book so much. I will probably go over it sometime. I will figure out how to do a book club thing because it's fun. It's really good.
I see.
That's all I had to say about that. I just wanted to also point out, like, that's how mad this book made me. If I felt like I was going overboard, it's because I read something they handled this so fantastic, and I was like, okay, let me read a little bit of a modern, like something, because meat isn't super like they don't have a lot of technology and stuff. They have some, like they do have like factory machines and stuff, but they don't have like in this book, it's pretty heavily implied that like we got like cool translators and cool futuristic tech stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not really a thing in meat. But to go from something that handled it so well and did the twists and the bad guys and everything so good to, she had the domesticated look of or she had a look of a domesticated animal or whatever the fuck that line was. Go to that, it's over. This book's ass. I hate it so bad. I wanted to toss it out the plane window, but I can't.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where, again, it feels like this book's internal logic and the way it's presented takes a backseat to the quote-unquote political and societal message, instead of the book being well written that the inferences come from within it, which is it's not fun. That's not a fun read. That's not like, it's not enjoyable. And yeah,
like Rena said, so this guy's shitting on his sister for what she named her kids and the stuff she does in her own house in this society where like this is fine, but you straight up R-word a cattle, which is even by your society is not okay.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to feel bad for you. Okay.
Yeah. It's a weird debate. Like not even a debate. It's a weird way of presenting its material. It's a very it feels like it's very much that kind of, here's a book that everybody can get into, but if you want a real book about this topic, find the fucking real book about this topic.
I think that the ultimate takeaway, like I've been thinking about it this entire time. I think the ultimate, and the ending kind of solidified it for me. I think the ultimate takeaway that we're supposed to come off with is there's no ambiguity when you live in a capitalist society with like the meat industry the way it is. There's always going to be, somebody hurting somebody just for existing, and I feel like that's the takeaway they wanted to give the
and
audience.
I can see that genuinely if I like calm down a bit, I could see that just like no matter what,
it's all that shit to get there that
it's like no matter what, something bad has to happen to somebody to get to this point, right? But it's also just like
take. Like, yeah, we know that's kind of how life is. Like, there's nothing that none of us aren't aware of, that like people suffer in the world, and they have for thousands of years, and they probably will 1,000 years after us. Like that's just that's how life goes. Like
if I close my eyes and don't read it, it's a pretty good book.
Exactly, Rena. And there's another thing too that I really think about, and it's one of the one of the reviews of this book from the Wikipedia page is something really interesting, that these people, like, this is how you know some reviewers are just kind of plain dumb and just say buzzwords, because they're talking how this book talks about zootonic diseases and that diseases aren't really simple. Like, this doesn't even go into the disease process.
It doesn't
Yeah.
even say what happens to the
Yeah.
animals, because I've been flicking through it because I have it on my Kindle. I've been flipping through it, and it just actually, I think I just made up
Yes.
the fact that the animals were aggressive. I think I just made that up in my brain for myself because
Right.
I can't. There's nothing.
Rena puts it better. This concept has been done so many times by more qualified people. Yeah, it sounds like if this is like the zoonotic thing.
Zoonotic.
Right?
That's the word. Yes.
Yeah, I think I said zootonic by accident.
You wanted to say Zootopia.
Zootopia so badly.
That's fine.
Judy
That's
Hopps,
fine.
yes.
Are you
Oh,
Judy
God.
Hopps' lover?
Whoa,
I'm
bro.
not Judy, yeah, I was about to say that with that fucking
That
TikTok, Judy Hopps
lover.
lover
Don't say
69 or
cock
some
lover.
shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
Judy
fucking
Hopps
was
lover
like,
69. No, but in all seriousness, like, one of the things is that this feels like she may have interviewed some kind of like epidemiologist maybe one time, or read some textbook and was like, oh, there you go, that's fine. But no,
She got it. She had a Discord call.
yeah, she had a Discord call with like a fucking epidemiologist. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this
Skype.
Skype. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
sorry. Skype call.
Cool Anime Girl says, why am I getting the like Twilight vibes where it's not a great series, but it's hyped so much? Because that's how kind of New York Times bestsellers are. That's a lot of
And again, I feel like maybe if you've just never read anything else, because even before I started getting in my like horror reading kick, I've read other books about like cannibalism and stuff that handles this just better. I just can't think of anything.
Mhm.
But like my comparison with this and Meat was just, I had just finished reading Meat, and I was like, oh man, that was so good. Everyone says this one's really good too. I can't wait just to be horribly disappointed.
That's too
that's
bad.
But I feel
That
like if
sucks.
this is I just feel like if you just, maybe you haven't read anything else in a while, or if this like maybe the only book on cannibalism you've ever read, I can see
Yeah.
people liking it more.
I agree with the Twilight / like 50 Shades kind of vibe, where it's like it takes off, and then like someone is gonna get the wild idea. This needs to be made into a different media source.
and
Yeah, I actually
Let's
like, as
make
much as I shit on the book.
movies.
Yeah, as much as I'm shitting on the book, I actually do think this would be a way better TV show,
yeah.
because there's so much that you need to see rather than to be told. Because, or at least if you're gonna tell it, I don't want to hear it from some whiny asshole.
Right.
Yeah.
whole book.
Okja also did another meat industry production like that too.
Yeah, Okta is a movie, and I believe I think it won an Academy Award.
It won. I don't remember if it was Academy Award or it won something.
Reading Meat, like palm reading before the schlong.
That is
Someone's doing
hot.
that. I feel like
That is hot.
Someone-
That's called
What?
it's called tantric readings. It's hot. Tantric readings.
you can do that with
No,
someone.
it was
Listen.
just it was
I'm not
nominated for the Palme d'Or, which is
Oh,
for,
okay.
the Confilm
Yeah.
Festival.
Yeah. Well,
No, Meat is the title of a book that I was comparing this one
Yeah.
to. That's way better in my opinion. Again, this is all